me free or give me death, there ain't no other choices. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come.
He's still on his feet.
Here we come. Here we come. I used to think that people die because they wicked. Nowadays, people want to see you dead because you gifted. Been ready for my tomb since I came up out the womb. So no matter what, here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come.
Scots find a way, period.
I'm a link in the chain. I am a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
I'm 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 a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain.
I'm a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain. I'm a link in the chain.
I am a link in the chain. When you play one of us, you play all of us.
The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. These two teams have experienced opposite sides of the spectrum here at the palace of football that we call Jerry's World. It's that same dichotomy that makes this rivalry so passionate and so meaningful. And as these two giants of high school football meet again, one will go home with heartbreak. The other will move on for a chance at glory that will last a lifetime. It's the Highland Park Scots and the Denton Ryan Raiders in the 5A Division I semifinal, presented by Game On Sports.
And it's staying right where it belongs.
Go! Core went to the end zone. Touchdown, Scott! He's got a receiver. It's caught by Finn Core.
Hello, everyone. I'm Miles Dunklin, joined by Zach Wolchuk, as we're here at one of the great venues in all of sports, AT&T Stadium. And this is a venue where Scott fans have a lot of great memories over the last few years. And Zach, speaking of great memories, last week the Frisco Star, an epic comeback by Highland Park, a game that will not soon be forgotten by Scott fans.
Yeah, it was an absolutely instant classic for Highland Park. I think that's got to give this team a ton of confidence, knowing they truly are never out of the fight. When you look at coming back, that fourth quarter rally, the outstanding performance by Chandler Morris, this is a really special Highland Park team, and they are playing with house money tonight against Denton Ryan.
And Zach, speaking of Denton Ryan, obviously a lot of tradition, a lot of history between these two teams, and what's really been an epic rivalry. And Denton Ryan has had their season ended by the Scots in this very round, in this same venue, the last two seasons, and revenge has to be on the mind of the Ryan Raiders.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. A lot of it's been made about this is the third time that they've met here, third consecutive year in a row. But I can tell you, on the Denton Ryan side, Coach Dave Hennigan all week has preached. The reality is that this year's Ryan team has never played this year's Highland Park team, and vice versa. He has tried to absolutely poo-poo the notion that the last 2 years have anything to do with today's football game, and there are a lot of different names.
Kyle, I'll be coming to you soon.
Spencer Sanders. There's no more Gabriel Douglas. This is a very different Denton Ryan team. A team previously in the previous two matchups had been led by their offense. It's the defense that's carrying this Raider group this season.
Well, for Highland Park, they have tremendous balance. Zach Wolchuk, good offense, good defense, good special teams, and certainly when you look back at last week, can look no further than the performance of Chandler Morris, who's a nominee for Player of the Year in the Dallas area. The Scott Jr. quarterback was just fantastic in the fourth quarter comeback against John Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what he did, 6 total touchdowns, 3 through the air, 3 on the ground, and I think his legs really were a huge difference maker in that fourth quarter against John Tyler, and I think it's going to be a big impact in the fourth quarter again today. When you look at a Raider team that plays the majority of their defense also on offense, they're playing both ways. When you have a very deep Highland Park Scott roster, that could pay huge dividends in the fourth quarter, especially with this rushing attack led by Chandler Morris.
I mentioned that we have some reporters on the sideline for the first time today. Let's head down to Kyle Yeomans, who is on the field. Kyle, what's the feeling like down there as this epic matchup gets ready to start?
Well, you talked about really the lore of the rivalry. You talked about the excitement between the two teams to play each other here in 2018. You also mentioned some of the older names like Spencer Sanders, like John Stephen Jones, but you got to know that Chandler Morris, Finn Corwin, who have been at least on the roster, maybe not so much on the actual field during those rivalry games, are definitely wanting to put their stamp on things. There's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of anticipation, but there's also a little bit of nerves on this sideline. You can kind of tell both sides are a little unsure of what's going to happen in this ball game because of the craziness that has happened in the last 2 seasons. This third separate meeting is a completely different story. Should be a whole lot of fun to watch because new names, new year, but same story. It's the third time's the charm, and it should be an instant classic between these two ball clubs.
This is an extremely exciting game. We also have a big game coming up after this one with Allen and Duncanville, so there should be a lot of people in the building, a terrific atmosphere for this game. And with that, let's check in with Paige Schnorbach for the first time today down on the sideline.
Miles, thank you. This is such an exciting day. I know that Kyle just went over about the meetings between Denton Ryan and Highland Park in the past. I would just want to share my personal strongest memories that first time when they went to state 2 years ago and they played Denton Ryan in the finals. I saw it was right there as their quarterback went down and Highland Park went on to win. Denton Ryan had a tough break that day. Highland benefited from it. But today these two teams come evenly matched. It's going to be a fight either way, but a great game. Back to y'all.
Thank you, Paige. Zach Wolchuk, as you look at these two teams and you have some familiarity with this Denton Ryan program, and Dave Hennigan, of course, used to coach under Randy Allen at Highland Park. What do you think is the Denton Ryan perspective coming into this game? Let's take a look all the way back to 2015. All right, they're 14-0. They lose to Allen in the state semifinals. In 16, they're 14-0. They lose to Highland Park. In 17, they're 14-0. They lose to Highland Park. They have won 56 of their last 59 games, and they don't have any hardware to show for it.
Yeah, they haven't lost a regular season football game in 4 years. They're an outstanding football team. They have a ton of tradition, and there is a lot of mutual respect. As you said, Coach Hennigan. They knew they're talented, but they did not understand the fact that their offense and their quarterback scenario, who was going to be their guy. They started with Ian Hennigan, the senior. They moved on to their sophomore, Seth Hennigan. But Drew Sanders, the transfer from Colleyville Heritage, has come in here, and he is their end-all, be-all. He might be the best linebacker in the state. You'll see him 16 in blue. You can't miss him. The dude is a behemoth out there. But he'll also come in and play their Wildcat quarterback. And when you see Denton Ryan get on the football field with teams, they're usually the bigger, stronger, more physically and athletic football team. And going into the previous 2 matchups against Highland Park, I think that they believed that that would win out. It certainly didn't. Highland Park came out. They executed better. They made the plays in the clutch. And quite frankly, they outcoached the Denton Ryan sideline. What will be the difference today? Drew Sanders, 16 in blue, will have to be that guy for Denton Ryan.
Zach, if you were to point to a couple things in this game that would be keys to victory for Highland Park, what type of things do you think need to go well for the Scots to get a victory?
I think Highland Park, and they've done an excellent job all year of controlling the football, controlling clock, but the most notable thing is you can't turn the football over. Denton Ryan is a very opportunistic defense, but they're also a very aggressive defense. utilize that to your advantage. Use a double move, a play action, something out there to get a jump. You have Billy Bowman Jr. on the outside, who not only is a difference maker at corner, he plays receiver, and he's also an outstanding kick and punt returner. He's got touchdowns in all three of those areas, and he's a guy that's very, very aggressive. When you look at your talented receivers on the outside, and Highland Park has a who's who out there, they're extremely deep. Use those guys to try and take advantage of the aggressiveness of Billy Bowman on the edge. That could be a big key in order to stop this Denton Ryan team. Big plays over the top against Denton Ryan's defense.
And Denton Ryan has taken the field here at AT&T Stadium, waiting for the Scots to run through the gauntlet that is their bells and cheerleaders. And Zach, what a great turnout last week from the Scott faithful, as well as John Tyler, and should be another fantastic turnout today. Still kind of a late arriving crowd here, but already probably 10,000 people in the building, something like that.
Absolutely, and I think you'll see more for the second half of this game as Allen and Duncanville fans arrive. I think you're going to have a packed house for the second half of this one, and we could see record attendance today at AT&T Stadium with the triple header that they've got in store.
And here come the Scots. Highland Park, the defending back-to-back state champions here in the state of Texas. They have won 29 consecutive games. So the Scots will get the ball first as they elected to receive the football here, Zach Wolchuk. And the Scots have been outstanding this year in terms of starting fast. They've outscored opponents in the first quarter 206 to 42. That's an average of 14.7 points to just 3 points. And a quick start today should be very important for this Highland Park team and Randy Allen, the legend that you see right there.
No doubt. On paper, you look at Denton Ryan, and this is a team that I don't think wants to be playing from behind. And the main thing is, we talked about it with Seth Hennigan, their starting sophomore quarterback. This is without a doubt the biggest game that he's ever played in. He's never played here at AT&T Stadium, and he has been the definition of a bus driver so far this year for Ryan.
And we're going to pause here for the national anthem. We're about ready for some football here at AT&T Stadium in what is a very highly anticipated matchup. It's Highland Park and Denton Ryan, Part 3. Zach, I mentioned the importance of a quick start for Highland Park. I was talking with Finn Corwin yesterday, the Scots' outstanding senior wide receiver, who, by the way, picked up an opportunity to play football at Arkansas this week. So big congratulations to Finn. But he said, look, they have two things. They have hope and they have doubt. We want to make sure that they feel that doubt, and we want to eliminate that hope early. And Ryan is a team, Zach, that has to be, I don't want to say fragile mentally, but because this is a very well-coached team led by Dave Hennigan. But considering what they've been through the last couple of years, you got to imagine that if Highland Park's able to get out to a quick start, that'll go a long way to hurting the mentality of these Ryan Raiders.
Well, certainly offensively, there's a ton of changes from 2 years ago, definitely from last year as well. but there are 9 returning starters on that Ryan defense that lost to Highland Park on this very field a year ago. The difference is you add in Drew Sanders, who is now their best player, and then an outstanding defensive end as well into the sophomore Jatavian Sanders. So that defense, especially if Highland Park can come out, jump out on them early, there's without a doubt, it's human nature. You'll start thinking and reflecting back to what happened last year, and it seemed as though Highland Park was playing with the lead for the majority of that football game a year ago, and Ryan was continually playing catch-up. Last year, they had the offensive weapons to go ahead and play in a shootout. This year, I don't think a track meet is something that Denton Ryan wants any part of.
This is the 5A Division I semifinal. The winner of this game will move on to play next week in the same time slot against the winner of Shadow Creek and Foster. Or excuse me, Shadow Creek and Wagner. As Highland Park will take the ball first in this matchup. The deep men back to return for the Scots. It's Finn Corwin, Ben Smith, and Hunter Heath. The man to kick it off for Denton Ryan, an excellent all-around kicker, Riley Nuzzo. Finally have the go-ahead from the Red Hat. And the 5A Division I semifinal is underway here at AT&T Stadium. It's a short kick. It'll be fielded by Ben Smith at his own 15-yard line. And Smith across the 25, dragged down there at the 27-yard line. And that's where the Highland Park offense will set up shop. They are led by Chandler Morris. The junior signal caller has 57 touchdowns on the season to only 5 turnovers. On the offensive line, the left tackle is the captain, Reagan Riddle, committed to Rice. The left guard, also a captain, Ryan Butts, a 2-year starter. The center is Tyler Kilgus. The right guard is Jack Rourke back in the lineup. And Harrison Hall in there at right tackle. At wide receiver, it's Drew Dodge at the X. Finn Corwin at the C. Ben Smith at the A. And Bennett Brown into action now as Drew Scott is now out of the lineup for Highland Park. They started off with a carry to Benner Page, the final member of that Scott offensive lineup that I did not mention. And Highland Park quickly deploys their 5 wide set after that early run. Morris has a receiver, and it's off his hands. Looking for Drew Dodge there on the left side. Drew Dodge, 30 catches on the season, 4 touchdowns, and Highland Park will face a 3rd down and 7.
That was an excellent play call. That was there all the way. Just went off the hands of Dodge, but I think the pace and the tempo is huge. Keep Ryan on their heels.
They stick with the 5 wide set. Ryan brings the pressure. They throw the screen. It's Finn Corwin. Corwin has a 1st down and more across the 40, all the way to the 45-yard line. Finn Corwin has been a man-possessed, went over 1,400 yards on the scene last week, leads the Dallas area, also has 16 touchdowns.
How about the toughness here by Finn Corwin in an absolute sea of blue? And he just keeps churning the legs and drags about 3 Ryan Raider defenders with him to pick up a few extra yards.
The Scots stay with the same personnel group, and now Benner Page is in the backfield. And they hand it to it. Up the middle, Benner. Nice balance there across the Cowboys star at midfield. Solid 1st down pickup for the Scots as they are marching here on their opening drive.
And the 2 runs right now right up the gut through the heart of this Ryan defense. And Drew Sanders comes in, just tries to lower his shoulder there, 16. That's not going to work against Highland Park. These backs get low, they have great center of gravity, and they're going to absolutely run through any kind of arm tackle.
Scots, 3 receivers to the wide side of the field. Morris wants to go that direction. There's Ben Smith with the catch. Smith wrestled down there at the 42-yard line. That's another Scott 1st down. Let's go ahead and set the Ryan Raider defense. It's a 4-3 look. Jatavian Sanders and Delshawn Neal, they're both starting wide receivers. They're also starting defensive ends. The 2 nose guards are twins, Anthony Flemings and Jaquez Flemings. Drew Sanders and Ahmad Terry are the middle linebackers. Aaron Dixon is the rover. And in the secondary, it's Billy Bowman Jr., Trey Smith, TJ Walker, and Jamarian Robertson. Scott's wanting to go deep, looking for Drew Dodge. A lot of physicality over there with the matchup with Billy Bowman. And Bowman is definitely a player to watch here for the Ryan Raiders.
Heads-up play there by Chandler to know the offsides. He took his shot deep, and that's what you need to do against Billy Bowman Jr. We talked about that, Miles. He is absolutely a special player, not only on defense, but offense and special teams as well. And this is a Ryan defense, very opportunistic. 13 defensive touchdowns on the season to go along with 3 safeties. That's been their bread and butter, forcing turnovers and turning that into instant offense.
Highland Park last week had one of their best yard per play averages all year. They averaged 8.5 yards per play against John Tyler, put up 29 first downs. Denton Ryan's offsides again, as Morris looking here for Bennett Brown. And Bennett Brown into the starting lineup here with the loss of Drew Scott. So Highland Park going back-to-back offsides by the Ryan Raiders will have a first down.
And Bennett Brown, a player that's really coming on, stepped up clutch in that fourth quarter against John Tyler, and I think could be a huge difference maker for the Scots tonight.
They feel like they are not going to miss a beat with Brown inserted into the lineup. Has played a lot this year. On 1st and 10, they hand it off to Benner Page, and he is dragged down by Anthony Flemings. 11 tackles for loss on the season for the starting senior nose guard. You're going to hear a lot of junior, sophomore, even a freshman sprinkled in there for Denton Ryan, but they do have those 2 big seniors up the middle on the defensive line.
And both those Flemings have been seeing valuable playing time since sophomores. They both played in the first meeting against against Highland Park, for Denton Ryan.
Denton Ryan, winners of 56 of their last 59 games. The Scots have won 29 in a row. Morris trying to escape, flinging it. The ball came out, and they say incomplete pass. Now Chandler was right on top of it to pick it up if it was a fumble, but that's an incompletion. It'll bring up 3rd down and 8.
Well, for the first time, we saw Denton Ryan able to get some pressure. Coach Dave Hennigan yelling at his boys to get on back as they were celebrating right around the 40-yard line, and you saw a couple of miscues, and that's the offsides. A very aggressive front for Denton Ryan, but they sure can get after it, and those are the kind of plays that they've been making all year long. Good call by the officials, though clearly Chandler Morris's arm going forward, an incomplete pass.
So a big call there. It would have been a difference of about 8 yards. Looked like Chandler would have been able to fall on the football. But it is 3rd down and 8. The Scots this season on 3rd down, they are 44%. 2 receivers stacked to either side. Morris wants to run it all the way, and he'll be dropped in the backfield by the sophomore, Jatavian Sanders. And Zach, he is quite a player. Just a sophomore starting both ways for the Raiders.
Yeah, Jatavian Sanders, big 6'4", 205. There's a reason as a sophomore, he's one of the best players along this front 7 for Denton Ryan, and he's also one of their best weapons at wide receiver whenever we see the Raider offense take the field.
The Scots want to go for it here on 4th down from the 33-yard line. Morris has time, wants to go deep, has a receiver. It's caught by Bennett Brown into the end zone. Touchdown, Scots!
Stand up and take a bow, Bennett Brown. What a route. Stacks the receiver wide open. Great job by the offensive line. Tremendous protection. Chandler Morris steps up, sees it all the way, delivers a strike, and Bennett Brown into the end zone with the finish. Right on cue. Talking about him as a player that can be a difference maker today. And he steps up on the opening drive. Big 4th and 8. And Highland Park comes up clutch.
The Scots take an early lead with a big 4th down conversion. Chandler Morris finding Bennett Brown. The Scots go 10 plays, 73 yards. It took 3 minutes and 27 seconds. And Wesley Winters tacks on the extra point. It's 7-0 Scots.
And Denton Ryan, a team that has not trailed this postseason. They're coming off back-to-back shutouts of Lubbock Coronado and last week against Birdville. And you see they're running wide open is Bennett Brown. An absolutely gorgeous route. Just able to get right past the corner there. Jamarian Robertson, who was cheating up, looking into the backfield the whole time. And he just got run right by. No chance the safety had coming over the top.
And Bennett Brown, one of our talking points this week. This guy's been unselfish, been willing to do whatever it takes to help the team, whether that's playing quarterback, running back, wide receiver. He's happy to do whatever he can to help the team. And That's really what makes Highland Park, Zach. Very unselfish players, just like Bennett Brown.
Oz Dunklin, that was such a critical drive for Highland Park and a big blow to Denton Ryan's confidence. You started to talk about doubt creeping in. This was a defense that hadn't allowed a single point in the last 10 quarters of football. The Scotties just took the opening drive and went right down the Raiders' throat with a big touchdown on 4th down and 8.
Showing the ability to pass and throw. Kyle Yeomans, what'd you see on that touchdown drive?
Yeah, guys, I'm on the Denton Ryan sideline right now, and you talk about a blow to the confidence. I'm sitting right behind T. Walker, the senior safety. He's very frustrated. Coaches are kind of getting in his face a little bit, saying, hey, we need you to calm down. We need you to play the game. But you could see the frustration that is going on this Denton Ryan sideline after that Bennett Brown just basically blown coverage. A great route, and it was able to take advantage of it. And T.J. Walker definitely frustrated. Denton Ryan's got to fix something on that next drive defensively.
Well, Zach, to your point, this defense has been so dominant. They brought back 9 starters from last year's team. The 2 new guys, a blue chip linebacker going to Oklahoma and a freak show sophomore. So they've got some really good players on that defense. The ball is dropped on the return, but then picked up. That was Martin Rodriguez, as Highland Park continues to be so multiple in their kicking game, running 2 kickers at the ball. That was Hayden Kleiss booting it, putting the pressure on the Raiders.
You got to be on your toes. Rodriguez there just doinks right off him, a player that's not used to having to return the football there. Takes his eyes off of it for 1 second. Luckily, he's able to bounce back on it. And here comes that Raider offense led by the sophomore Seth Hennigan.
Hennigan, 19 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season. He is the coach's son, backed up, by the way, by his big brother. Seth, just a sophomore, 6'3", 175. They throw it right side. That's Billy Bowman Jr. And there's Ryan Caton, an outstanding tackler for Highland Park. Leads the team with 85 stops on the year, 71 of those solos.
And that has been a huge difference in the previous matchups and will continue to be today. It's Highland Park's ability to tackle an open space, one of the best tackling teams in the state of Texas, and that's what Seth Hennigan and this offense wants to do. They just want to get the ball out in space, quick little dump-offs, and let their athletes work down the field. That kind of game plan is not going to work against the Scotty D.
It's 2nd down and 7 to go for the Ryan Raiders, and they flip it. And that's Amani Bailey, and he's stopped there by Hudson Clark and Jack Jurgavan. And quickly we have a 3rd down attempt here for the Raiders. Let's go ahead and set their offense, the offensive line. Thomas Hernandez is the left tackle. The left guard is Austin Barrett. Parker Last is the center. The right guard is Quincy Gully, and the right tackle is Preston Couch. Not one of their offensive linemen over 6 feet, but they do average 258 pounds. It's 3rd down and 4. They bring in the H-back. And Ryan now audibly, and they go check with me. It's Bailey with Hicks behind him. Henning wants to throw. Right side, it's incomplete. Hudson Clark was all over it as they were looking for Delshawn Neal. Hudson Clark, one of the most dominant defensive backs in the state of Texas, had 2 interceptions last week and flexing early here against the Ryan Raiders.
And a play there for Seth Hennigan. It just wasn't open. Hudson Clark, like you said, Miles, all over that play. And the protection not bad there for Ryan Hennigan. A little bit more time, but that goes to being a sophomore. In a big game like this, nerves, jitters, a quick 3 and out. Great first 2 series for the Scotty offense and the defense. You can't ask for more.
Now Riley Nuzzo is an outstanding punter. The Scots are all the way back at their 15-yard line. This is an end-over-end kick. It will bounce at the 25. The Scots need to get away from it. And Ryan downs it there at the 27. But Zach, a terrific start here for the Highland Park Scots, who some people were actually picking Denton Ryan in this game, despite the trends of the last couple seasons. When Ryan was the big favorite in this game, Highland Park was able to really outplay them and earn those victories. But a terrific start here for the Scots for their confidence.
And I thought that was just wild. You look at some sites, and Denton Ryan's favored by 3 to win this football game. And I just think it's an absolute disrespect to the quality of this Highland Park squad.
HB retakes the field on offense. Went 73 yards on their first drive. They'll need to go 75 here. Throwing left side. It's caught over there by Ben Smith, who's been so good for the Scots. Had a touchdown last week. Quickly, let's check in with Paige Schnorbach on the sideline.
Miles, the Scots have found early success this quarter after that touchdown, but Chandler Morris, this game is far from over. They came off the field and he told his receivers and the rest of his offensive line, guys, we're doing it, but this game is not over. It is not over yet. They still know they have a lot of work to do. Back to y'all.
Well, Highland Park was very focused this week in practice, and Ryan, despite the outcome of the last 2 years, has their full attention. It's a handoff here to Benner Page across the 35, and Benner Page just continues his solid play, Zach, in the playoffs. Benner averaging 6 yards a carry. I know throughout Friday Night Stars early in the year you guys were asking me about the Scott rushing attack. Well, those questions have been answered by number 22.
And I really thought Benner Page, who's been steady Eddie all year long, would have a good football game today. I think Denton Ryan's a little weak in the middle, especially with that front. They're great along the edges, but they are weak inside unless it's Drew Sanders coming up and working everything.
It's first down and 10. Morris has time, stepping up. Now he drops it off. There's Ben Smith, so good after the catch. Smith, a tough-nosed runner, able to break a tackle or two and get across the 50 for another Scott first down. They are marching right now.
Just a beautiful play by Chandler Morris. Stepping up in the pocket, looks like he's going to run. All of a sudden, the Ryan defense, they have to account for his running ability. You see them for a moment, they step up, they hesitate, he dumps it to his running back out of the flat. Beautiful play by Chandler Morris.
And then Ben Smith, who I have listed at about 160 pounds. He ran right over Billy Bowman Jr. on that play. Ran right through it. Morris has the whistle blown. And is this encroachment again on Denton Ryan?
I think it is.
5-yard penalty, first down.
Now, Zach, a lot was made over the officiating in last week's game, but Highland Park just played a cleaner football game than the Lions did. They only had 2 penalties for 10 yards, while John Tyler went 10 for 95, and already that trend going against Denton Ryan today. They can't complain when you're in the neutral zone on 3 plays already here in the first 6 minutes of the game.
And Coach Hennigan's got to be sick. That's an unacceptable penalty. Your nose is right in front of the football.
First down and 5. And Morris lost the football there on the handoff. Able to get it back. That's the second time that Chandler's lost the ball already here in the first quarter. But the Scots have been tremendous this season in terms of holding on to the football. Only 3 lost fumbles all year for the Scotties.
And that bounced right to Morris, but that's been the difference for Denton Ryan. They've had success by being able to cause turnovers and then scoring off of that. If they're going to have a chance, they need one of those plays.
It's second down and 9 after the loss. Morris, right side. There's Ben Smith again. And Ben Smith has been so good for Highland Park. The slot receiver position has been extremely productive for HP. In the playoffs, they're averaging 10 catches, 160 yards, and 1 touchdown per game out of the slot receiver position.
And it just causes so many problems for Drew Sanders playing that middle linebacker spot because he's got so much he has to account for. Not only does he have to pay attention to Morris running, but coming out of that slot, these receivers are too quick for him to keep up with them.
This junior class of receivers for Highland Park is outstanding. It's a 5 wide look now for Chandler. He wants to run it all the way. And hit pretty much immediately there by Delshawn Neal. Neal is a special player. 19 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 11 hurries. All those stats lead Denton Ryan this season.
Yeah, they've got 2 bookends that are all world, really, when you look at Neal and then the sophomore on the other side. In Sanders, they can play. But right now you've seen the offensive line have a lot of success for Denton Ryan, not only in pass pro, but they're starting to get some pushback in the run game.
Scott still deploy that 5 receiver look. And this is going to be a procedure call against the Scots. So we had 3 go against Denton Ryan. Now the Scots go back 5 yards.
It's interesting because Denton Ryan's a program, they show up and they're just used to being the more physical team based on their athletes that they've got. And I'd say so far in this opening quarter, Highland Park has without a doubt been the more physical team, not only in the 3 plays on defense, but their offensive line right now is winning in the trenches.
The Scott offensive line has been so good this season. They've had so much continuity out of that position. Benner Page is back in the backfield. See Drew Sanders, the OU commit, showing a blitz up the middle. Plenty of time here for Chandler. Over the middle, there's Ben Smith again, bobbling it and making the catch. similar to one of his plays last week against John Tyler. And Ben Smith, who had 4 catches and a touchdown last week, has been outstanding for the Scots here in the first quarter.
And the middle's wide open. Chandler Morris, take your pick. He had 2 crossers coming. They ended up in the same area, and I think that's what caused the bobble there for Ben Smith. He had a teammate crossing right in front of his face. You see Morris all day. Excellent job by the offensive line. And then right there, just jumping in front of him.
How about those hands on number 26?
And good concentration to follow that in.
The Scots already with over 100 yards of offense and 7 first downs. They hand it to Benner Page. Page fighting through a tackler. That's Ahmad Terry, number 10, and he's a really good one as well, Zach. Over 100 tackles on the year, 90 solo jobs. Right there in the middle, he and Drew Sanders are as good a middle linebackers the Scots have played this year.
And they ask a lot of Ahmad Terry because he's one of the few players that doesn't start both ways. He's a true defensive linebacker for them, a player that's not going to come off the field.
By the way, another junior. Denton Ryan's not going anywhere the next couple years.
They're loaded.
Scots go with the 2x2 set. Benner Page in the backfield with Chandler Morris. Morris wants to throw it. Now he's going to step up, looking into the end zone, and that ball's intercepted by number 11, T.J. Walker, with the pick for the Raiders, and they'll have the ball at the 20 off the touchback.
Well, Morris sees man-to-man, and you see him go over to the sidelines there, puts his hand on his chest and says, "That one's on me." And he steps up. It is man-to-man on the outside, but Walker was just there. He turns around, the football's on him. And for Ryan, a big turnover that they needed badly because they have been getting worked up and down the field right now, and excellent protection. Morris steps up, and that one just came out a little funny.
That didn't really have everything on that ball.
No,
I think he wanted to throw that more toward the back pylon, ended up short.
It looked like it just slipped right out of his hand.
And that's T.J. Walker's 3rd interception of the season, but this is something that Ryan really thrives on. Big plays, big momentum plays, and that's something that Highland Park really wanted to mitigate in this game. You don't want to call them front runners over there with the Raiders, but they do have a little bit of that. When it's going their way, they're feeling great. When it's not so much. And so if you're able to take away some of those big plays, like an interception, that's key. Kyle Yeomans, what'd you see on that interception by T.J. Walker?
Well, I was just talking about T.J. Walker in my last report, talking about the frustration that he had in the secondary. He's able to get a momentum play for this Denton Ryan team, but at the same time, watch for this offense to try and make something happen. I was talking to one of the experts who covers Denton Ryan throughout the course of the season. He said during practice this week that there is a strong possibility for some sort of trick play of sorts in the first quarter. We're nearing the end of that first quarter, so if it doesn't come in the next minute 27 seconds, potentially see it in the second quarter.
Thanks, Kyle. Great insight there. And the Scots are certainly known to deploy a tricky play or two themselves.
And Ryan's fully aware of that because they've been had the previous 2 meetings on a few of those.
Scott defense had a 3-and-out on their first possession.
There it is.
Here comes that trick play. Wanting to throw it deep. It was underthrown, but it's caught by Robertson. Still on his feet all the way down to the 30. Great job by Kyle Yeomans down there on the sideline, pointing out that was a possibility. And there was Imani Bailey putting the ball in the air. And a great execution there by Denton Ryan. They needed that play.
Well, you shake up that crystal ball, Mr. Yeomans, down there on the sideline, just foreseeing the future. Imani Bailey, you're right, just underthrew it a little bit. Corey Hicks. They're going to deploy that 2 running back set where it'll be Bailey and Hicks, and he just underthrows that football a tad, but a beautiful call by Hennigan to tilt the field.
Short splits here for the Raiders as they hand it off up the gut, and Jack Jurgovan was all over that one. The Scots are swarming defensively in the run game right now. Let's go ahead and set the Scott defense with Prince Dorba on the defensive line, as well as Jeremy Haynes, Jack Jurgovan. Grant Gallus is the 4th starter on that defensive line. The linebackers today, Christopher Reed and John Beatrill into the starting lineup at outside linebacker, Colby Hopkins and Patrick Turner on the inside. And in the secondary, it's Hudson Clark and Whit Winfield at the corners, Ryan Caton and Brock Bakich up the middle.
Extremely deep defense, especially in that linebacking core. Tons of versatility.
Hopkins gives them the ability to play the hot hand. 2nd down and 10. Hennigan wants to throw it, looking deep, looking for Drew Sanders. Terrific coverage there on the back end. There was about 4 Scots all around Drew Sanders, led by Whit Winfield, who's been playing so well. And there we get a good look at Drew Sanders and Zach. This is one of the finest athletes the Scots have ever faced in a football game. Drew Sanders is just a stud. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, and as a linebacker, you're not going to find one better, but he's recruited to Oklahoma to play tight end. They want to make him like a Mark Andrews and some of the other tight ends that you've seen come out of that Sooner program. And he'll also come in and be the Wildcat quarterback for Denton Ryan, which coming into this football game, I think is going to end up being huge for them. I think you'll see Drew Sanders take the snap at quarterback quite a few times before this game's over.
A key 3rd down and 10 here for the Ryan Raiders. From the 30-yard line, they need the Scott 20. Hennigan pressured and sacked. Prince Dorba and Jack Jurgovan meet at the quarterback.
How about that? Jurgovan is dominating. First of all, they don't have an answer for him up front, but Prince Dorba over off the other side, and those two meet right. And Seth Hennigan, boy, he had nowhere to go that close quickly.
And Riley Nuzzo is an outstanding kicker. Like we mentioned, hit a 47-yarder this year. He's 6 out of 9 on the season, 67 out of 68 on PAT attempts. But that might have knocked them out of field goal range.
I think it absolutely did. This would be a long kick. I think 47 is his long on the year.
And that will do it for the first quarter. We're going to take a break, be back for the second. And the remainder of this one as you're watching Scott Football presented by Game On Sports.
The customer service is really unparalleled. I've never seen anything like it.
The emblem, it just says a lot. It means, hey, I bought from Sewell.
They listened to what I had to say and actually cared about my experience.
Every once in a while, you want to be spoiled, and Sewell does that.
It's not just a transaction. That's the thing about Sewell.
I will always drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Infinity.
Welcome back to AT&T Stadium. My name is Miles Dunklin, flanked up here in the booth by Zach Wolchuk. We also have Paige Schnorbach and Kyle Yeomans down on the sideline. And Zach, I know we touched on AT&T Stadium to start this game, but what a fantastic facility. We were talking with Kyle before the game, and I liked his perspective. No matter how many times you've been here, every time you walk in, it feels like the first time. This is just a great place to watch a football game.
Yeah, you go down there on the field like we do pregame to visit with some of the coaches and the players, and you're just kind of like a kid in a candy store. You look up at the venue, you're on the field. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. If you're a fan of football, there's no better place to be. It truly is the Taj Mahal.
Of course, we were blessed to play down the road in Frisco the last couple of weeks.
Also an excellent venue.
The Scots have not lost in this building since 2015. Their last loss was to Waco Midway in the second round of the playoffs. Now, Riley Nuzzo is standing at the midfield, ready to punt it away. Slow approach, he does kick it away, and it's into the end zone for a touchback. So, not a very good net there, as they were punting from about the 35-yard line, only going to pick up 15 yards. As we're underway here in the second quarter, let's head down to Paige Schnorbach on the sideline.
Thanks, Miles. We saw something unusual for Chandler Morris with that interception. He came off the field telling his teammates, it was my fault, I take responsibility. But immediately, Randy Allen and Tristan Webbard were back there showing him some love, trying to keep him grounded, trying to keep him focused. And as we've seen from Chandler Morris all season, he's not going to let that throw him, and he'll just keep going forward. Back to y'all.
Speaking of not getting thrown off, Paige Schnorbach down there fighting off flu-like symptoms. We appreciate her putting on her hard hat today, coming to work. The Scots deploy the H-back set with Sam Morse running behind him, and there's Hunter Heath. And Heath has gained the confidence of Randy Allen and the Scott coaching staff, a dynamic runner, averaging 11.4 yards per carry on the season.
Yeah, and you noted that, Miles. Coming into the season, I think that was a lot of people had questions. Who would be able to take over for such a prolific rushing attack that graduated a year ago? And here's another piece of that puzzle in Hunter Heath, who's a load, quick, can do a lot of things, very effective. You can utilize him not only in the running game, but in the passing game as well.
They have Hunter listed at 5'6", 145, and they hand it to him again here. Heath, dragged down there by Jatavian Sanders, but a solid pickup for the Scots. and they like using Heath with this H-back package, and Big Sam Morse gives him another dimension in that running game as well. You see number 96 leading the way on that play.
And a great job there by Ryan Butts as well, just shielding over, opening up a huge hole for Heath.
I mentioned the continuity on the offensive line by Highland Park. They've had 65 starts this year by offensive linemen. Their starters have only missed one. It was Jack Rourke against College Station. They throw it left side, and that's off the hands of Hunter Heath. Incomplete.
Oh, and you can tell he's frustrated with that one because he had a lot of green to work with. If he was able to get that ball in. Excellent play. Just a quick, and he had Finn Corwin blocking right out in front.
And Heath is a track star. He is the fastest player in this Highland Park program. Especially if you're talking about anything 40 to 100 yards, he has got juice. So it's 2nd and 10 for the Scots. Benner Page is back in the lineup. Now they option him out left. Pump. They want to go deep. And intermediate. There's Finn Corwin at the 50, spinning. And across midfield. Finn Corwin has been such a dynamic force for Highland Park. And he does it again here, move the chains.
And that's a little setup play. They faked it out like they're going to go out into the flats again, just like they did the previous play. And then Chandler Morris gets a lot of zip on that ball. Quick out, gets it over to Finn Corwin. And boy, is there anything Finn Corwin can't do, man. Excellent route runner, tremendous hands. He always shows up when you need a play.
I said last week, I think he's on the Mount Rushmore of all-time slot receivers in Highland Park history. They go with the sprint draw play. And there's Benner Page carrying the ball all the way to the 40. Now you can see Jatavian Sanders trying to strip the football there. I'm sure Highland Park's aware of that, but Benner was able to carry him for a few extra yards.
And Sanders has been doing that so far the entire football game. You'll see Denton Ryan utilize that a lot. I mean, that's a big reason why they've had so many turnovers and so many defensive scores. They're constantly trying to rip that football out. But Benner Page, he's run very hard so far today. He's picking up a lot of yards after contact.
Benner Page is a stud. And we've been sleeping on him throughout the season in terms of his impact on this team, but it's no longer understated. He's the man back there at running back. They still have that H-back look. Morris wants to throw it back, set up the screen, nothing's there. Chandler's going to improvise, take off himself. Across the 40, sidestepping a man, then getting down at about the 37-yard line. Chandler is so good at protecting himself. He's got the baseball slide down pat, and right there able to duck out of trouble at the last moment.
Very effective run there for Chandler Morris, and you could tell he wanted to just kind of extend that play to the edge, try and see if he could find somebody downfield, but it looked like the middle had wide open. If he had to just put his foot in the ground and stepped up, he could have gashed the Raiders right up the gut, but still very effective run, and you can see there, great call, Miles, able to get down and protect his body.
That's the 11th first down for Highland Park already. They are churning out yards.
And they are wearing down the Ryan Raider defense.
Play action. Morris escaping to his left, and Chandler will go down at the 40-yard line.
Boy, Drew Sanders can cover some ground.
Oh, I talked to the Scott coaching staff this week about Drew Sanders. Said, is he the best linebacker we played this year? And you look at number 16, tracking Chandler right there, and they said he might be the best linebacker we've ever coached against. Ever.
And you can see it. I mean, this kid is the total package. And he's got a lot that he has to worry about working the middle. There are just so many problems this Highland Park offense poses to a defense, and Drew Sanders is the man in the middle who has to try and figure out how to answer and solve all of them.
It's 2nd down and 13 as the Scots are off schedule. They go play action. Morris stepping up over the middle. An open Ben Smith at the 20, reaching toward the 17-yard line, and Ben Smith is dominating the middle of the field right now against Denton Ryan.
He owns it. I mean, he's buying real estate right now in the middle of the field. TJ Walker is upset and beside himself. He's got to know what's coming. He just can't get over in time. Beautiful play action. The Raider defense bites, and they will all day. And TJ Walker is just playing with such a cushion. Easy pitch and catch there for Chandler Morris. And the way that Morris is stepping up and utilize, I mean, he works within the pocket about as well as I've ever seen a high school quarterback.
He's only a junior, Zach.
Sky's the limit for that young man.
That's already Ben Smith's 6th catch for 71 yards. It's a first down for the Scots. They are inside the 20 again, and they hand it to Benner Page off left tackle to the 15-yard line. You mentioned, Zach, the way that Chandler's stepping up, well, Highland Park knows that Jatavian Sanders and Delshawn Neal, the two defensive ends, star players, they want to get up the field. They want to rush the passer, pushing the field vertically. So that's something that Highland Park knows, and they can work within that to get Chandler stepping up, be able to see the whole field.
And you've already seen it pay off for Chandler Morris here. Another red zone opportunity for the Scotties.
2nd down and 8. Morris rolling the pocket right, throwing toward the end zone. It's caught by Caden Davis, who's into the lineup for Highland Park. Davis stepping in there at the wide receiver Z position as Bennett Brown is now the starter. And that's Caden's first catch in a while, but a big one for the track star for Highland Park.
And Caden Davis, a big body, he does a nice job, a good hands catch there. Morris, again, good accurate throw in between two Ryan defenders. Billy Bowman Jr., we've talked about the aggressiveness. He was a tick late there. Beautiful play to set up a 1st down and goal.
Scots go with the H-back look. It's Morris keeping himself and scoring. Touchdown, Highland Park.
Boy, that was too easy. That was a drive right there for the Highland Park Scots. A huge sack on 3rd down to set up a 4th and 17. Really takes points off the board for Denton Ryan, and then the swing to come right back down the field. You take up a good chunk of the 2nd quarter. 1st down and goal. Chandler Morris, the design keeper, blocked to perfection, walked the dog into the end zone. That's Scotty football.
11 plays, 80 yards. It took 5 minutes and 25 seconds, and the Scots are dominating the stat sheet right now. They did throw that interception in the end zone, but that's the 3rd time already, Zach Wolchuk, they've driven 70-plus yards to get the ball all the way down to the end zone. And this is a Denton Ryan team with a world-class defense. I mean, they hadn't been scored on in 10 quarters, and Highland Park is marching it down their throats right now.
They've pitched back-to-back shutouts in the playoffs against two pretty darn good offenses in Lubbock Coronado and the Birdville Hawks last week. And they've come out and been worked up and down the field by Highland Park so far in this football game. And this is a Ryan defense that has carried this team on their back the majority of the year. Now, I will say the last time Denton Ryan was down 14-0 was against Birdville in the final game of the regular season, which was essentially for the district championship. So it's not like the Raiders haven't been here before, but Highland Park is dominating at the offensive line, and their defensive line, really Jack Jurgovan, to me, is taking control of this football game on the defensive side.
And you look at the stat sheet right now. Only one Denton Ryan 1st down. It was the trick play on the running back pass. Highland Park has 13 1st downs already. They already have 199 yards in the game. Now, talking with Tristan Weber, the Scots' brilliant quarterback coach, one of their offensive brain trust guys, he told me, look, the key to the game is the Scots' ability to sustain drives. Have they done that?
They have more than done that. Yep, absolutely. They have controlled and dominated the first half of this football game, and now we'll see if Denton Ryan has an answer. And you'd sit here and you'd typically say, boy, this is desperation time for at least Ryan to string together a couple of 1st downs to give their defense a breather. The problem is the majority of that defense isn't getting a breather because they're out there playing on offense.
That's a great point, Zach. That's a great point. I think Highland Park likes where they're at, even if they're trailing in this game at half or at the end of 3 quarters, just because of the conditioning aspect, as that kick's going to go out of bounds. But, boy, they really feel good getting out in front early here. We've talked about the mentality, the hope, and the doubt, right? Doubt's got to be creeping in a little bit right now for Denton Ryan. This kick by Hayden Kleiss was out of bounds.
Procedure against the kicker team, kick out of bounds. They elected to take the ball 30 yards from the point of the kick. The ball will be placed on the 30-yard line, 1st down.
See, and I think it's such a mild penalty to only get the ball at the 30 as opposed to the 25.
And like you said, Ryan's offense has shown an inability to move the football outside of the trick play.
It's Bailey and Hicks in the backfield with Seth Hennigan. Hennigan wants to throw right side, and that one is caught over there by number 34, and that's Delshawn Neal, one of the starting defensive ends.
How many times do you see a defensive end who's also one of the starting receivers on the outside? And you'll see there a bit of a low snap for Seth Hennigan. Good job to go down there and corral it. But he's a guy that he's going to get the ball in his hands. It's 1 foot, ball's out. He's not going to go through a bunch of progressions. If his first read isn't there, he's going to be in some trouble.
And Zach, he really is not a runner at all. He has 13 carries for minus 12 yards on the year. He is not a dual threat quarterback by any stretch. And they hand it here to Bailey, bouncing it outside. Great play there by Chris Reed, number 24, coming back off the injury. Chris Reed has been maybe their most productive linebacker this season and makes a big play out here in space.
Against a player who is very slippery in the open field, and he's able to go down there, get around the ankles, and bring him down. Amani Bailey from time to time has been known, as soon as he gets the edge, he's off to the races. Big time tackle right there.
It's a 3rd down and short. And here comes number 12. That's Ian Hennigan. And they hand it off. 1st down. Ryan Caton there on the stop as Amani Bailey has just the 2nd 1st down of the first half here for Denton Ryan. Now, Zach, here's another thing about the way this game has played out so far. Ryan is a team, not only from a mentality standpoint, but just from a makeup standpoint, they want to play from ahead.
Face mask, defense, they penalized 15 yards for the end of the run, 1st down.
Big call there against the Scots, but just in terms of their style of play, they want to get ahead and they want to be able to run the football. It's not like they feel comfortable being in a hole with Seth Hennigan being able to take over the game and spread the ball around.
And the key thing you said there was they want to be able to run the football, and that's something they haven't been able to set the tone and really develop that running game yet.
Well, they do have a 1st down and 10 across midfield now after the penalty. A completed pass there. And that's number 3. That's Kiori Hicks, who's an outstanding running back, just his 6th reception of the season. But he does have 3 receiving touchdowns.
And Ryan has 2 really good backs with Bailey and Hicks, and they'll play them both out there, and they've kind of switched to that as this offense has really been developing and figuring out who they are as the season's gone on. And we mentioned they'll put out Drew Sanders there as the Wildcat quarterback. We've yet to see that here. I think that's a big reason because they want to make sure Drew Sanders is fresh for the heavy workload they need him to perform at middle linebacker.
So Seth Hennigan back in there. It's Billy Bowman's in motion. The ball was on the ground. Hennigan just going to lob it up out of bounds. Now that might be intentional grounding. I mean, there was no real point to throw the ball to anybody right there. He just tried to throw it out of bounds.
I think the only thing the officials might have seen is Billy Bowman Jr. in the area, and that's the 2nd low snap this drive. That was probably the worst. The previous one, Seth Hennigan able to go down and get both. But Billy Bowman Jr. is in the area, but that ball clearly not catchable.
And that's a big problem if they can't get those snaps figured out. You can't do those kind of things against the Scots.
Not at all. And here's Drew Sanders for the first time at Wildcat.
And the big man is in there, taking it right side. Sanders is loose. Down the sideline, diving toward the end zone. And he's out of bounds at the 5.
He's that man. He's the difference maker for Ryan. If they're going to have a chance to win this football game at 16 blue, Miles Dunklin, Drew Sanders is a load. The biggest play aside from the trick play on offense for Denton Ryan, he just takes it right off the edge and very close to getting into the end zone.
You're going to see him step out right there at about the 4-yard line.
Great call by the officials.
Sanders this year, 11 rushing touchdowns, just 250 yards. They don't use him that much. He only has 12 passing attempts
He's going to stay
on the
in.
season. And he's still in there. And he'll keep it himself. Up the gut and into the end zone. Touchdown Raiders. That's his 12th score of the year.
Well, Ryan saved it when they needed it most, and clearly, in my opinion, when you look at both these teams and the collision course that they were probably on, in the back of my mind, I felt Drew Sanders is going to end up being the starting quarterback for the majority of that football game, because you've seen Seth Hennigan is just limited right now at where he is in his maturation process as a quarterback. Only a sophomore, has a lot to learn. This stage is big, but they have to be extremely smart to understand how much they're using Drew Sanders, because he is such a key player defensively. If they're going to slow down Chandler Morris and the Scotty offense, they've got to pick and choose when they want to implant him in the offensive game plan.
And there you're going to go look at Drew Sanders, who moved in from Colleyville Heritage High School. His dad took a coaching job on the staff here at Ryan. So switching within the districts, there is Drew Sanders, and he is a stud, plunging into the end zone. Got a TV timeout here, so let's check in with both of our sideline reporters. First of all, Paige Norbach.
Miles, this is exactly what Coach Melton's been trying to warn his defense against. He was telling them earlier that this offense lives off big plays. We saw that in the first quarter with them getting their first down off a trick play, and now we just saw them get a touchdown. And as we saw last week with Highland Park's win, momentum plays a huge part in this game. And now Denton Ryan has got their foot in the game. They're here. Kyle, what do you see from your sideline?
Yeah, thanks, Paige. I'm on the Denton Ryan sideline. A lot more confidence in terms of really the offense. That was a long, methodical drive, something that Denton Ryan had not been able to do without the big play. And then, of course, big number 16 came in. And, Zach, I know you and I have talked about it on Friday Night Stars all season long, but this is the first time that I've seen Drew Sanders play in person. And, my goodness, he is fun to watch, whether it's on the defensive side or on the offensive side. He is an absolute monster. We'll talk about it more at halftime. But, man, he is a ball player down here on the sideline.
Kind of my comparison on Drew Sanders is like if Blake Bell wants to play defense. I mean, just a big, mean, physical guy, but with a defensive mentality.
No doubt.
Our coaches were telling me that he doesn't take a single snap off on defense, that he is a true defender.
Well, the fact that Oklahoma wants to recruit him at tight end, it's not to say that he can't be a great tight end. I think he absolutely can excel whatever position you want to play him, but I think he's best suited as a defensive player moving forward.
Whether you want to put him in end, linebacker, receiver, tight end, he can play for me. I'll take him.
Oh, man, absolutely. He's one of those guys, I don't think anybody's going to turn him down. But a huge drive there for Denton Ryan. But Highland Park with 3:42 left to go here in the first half. They got a chance to go down the field and add some more points.
And you look at the stat sheet right now for Highland Park. We told you they already have 13 first downs, 199 yards of offense. Chandler Morris has been very good. 10 out of 14, 157 yards, 15.7 yards per pass. He did have the interception, but also a touchdown, and has run the ball in for a touchdown. Chandler now with 59 scores this season for Highland Park, 18 on the ground, 41 in the air. And they throw it here to Benner Page. That is his 20th catch of the season.
I think Benner Page is having an excellent first half, especially running the football with his physicality. But the receivers, the running backs, being able to get out there and be receiving weapons as well for Chandler Morris, really just an extension of the run game. They're getting it out to him quickly in the flat.
They go to Benner Page again with some more tough running. You know, not one individual play that Benner Page makes do you think, wow, what a spectacular play. He's just solid. If it's blocked for 5, he's going to get you at least 5, maybe 6, maybe 7.
Steady Eddie, man. I'll tell you what, and that's Drew Sanders. He's running right through. You don't see Benner Page get knocked backwards. He's always falling forward for extra yards, spinning his way. The legs don't stop moving, just a grind-it-out, gritty, tough running back.
Does all the little things well in terms of blocking, taking care of the ball. Plenty of time for Morris. Stepping up, right side. Kind of an ugly duck over there looking for Benner once again. And it's incomplete.
Well, safe throw there as well by Chandler. Pretty good coverage on the back end there for Denton Ryan. Nowhere to go. Pressure coming up. Chandler an alert job to feel. He's got a sixth sense, you can tell. He has a knack for being able to sense the pressure coming from his backside. That's a play. Ryan will strip sack that, and they've done it the majority of the year. Chandler Morris, the alertness to be able to step up, protect the football, just kind of throw it out. If his receiver's not going to make the play, it's going to fall incomplete.
Well, he's a quarterback in the truest sense of the word. Has a feel for the position. As they bring the house here, Morris wants to run, trying to get to the outside. Chandler can really move. And he's across the 40 to the 45 and very close to another Scott first down. At the very least, it's going to be a manageable third down attempt. And here's some stats for you, Zach. On third down and short and third down and medium, the Scots are 10 out of 14. They're only 6 out of 25 in third down and long. So very important to be in these manageable situations. And now they deploy Sam Morse at the H-back spot. And now they can really do everything in the playbook here.
And that was a formation that really worked well in the previous drive.
They hand it off. Benner Page up the gut. He's got a first down across the 45. Let's give a lot of credit right now to the offensive line for Highland Park. Reagan Riddle certainly leading the way. Big, smart, physical football player, 290-pounder at left tackle. Ryan Butts, left guard, 2-year starter. Tyler Kilgus at center. Jack Rourke at right guard. Harrison Hall. These guys have been so good, and they're imposing their will today.
They really are. They are winning the battle, and they've been doing it from the word go so far today.
They stick with the H-back look. Vinner Page goes in motion. They pump it to him. They want to go deep on the wheel route. There's Finn Corwin. Deep into Denton Ryan territory, and the Scots are in business once again.
Oh, Chandler wanted the deep one. He had Vinner Page out there in the flat, wide open if he wanted him. He decided, I'm going to hold off. The pump fake was gorgeous, and then right over the top of the rainbow ball over to Finn Corwin.
Chandler Morris just has such a great feel of when to put zip on the ball, when to lob it in there. And like I said, he's a quarterback. Zach, he's not an athlete back there playing the quarterback position. He's a great athlete, don't get me wrong. But this guy understands the finer points of the position, and he excels at doing all those little things, like that pump fake on that play.
Yeah, he's magical back there, man. He's got a complete control of this offense. He knows exactly what he wants, and he's going to pick and take his shots when he feels the moment's right.
Timeout taken here by Dave Hennigan and Denton Ryan. So, Zach, this is such an important finish to this first half here. It's 14-7. Yes, the Scots have been marching the ball the whole game, but it's only 14-7. And if you don't score here, if there's some kind of a turnover, whatever happens, well, Denton Ryan also gets the ball to start the third quarter. So a really critical spot here in Highland Park, hopefully, with 1:32 on the clock. Their clock management has been perfect, I think, here, milking the clock in certain situations, and now hopefully they can score without leaving Denton Ryan too much time.
And I think a touchdown would also go a long way into continuing to break the will of that Raider defense unit that's been so good all year long. We've talked about it at length. They have really been the catalyst for the success for the Ryan Raiders this year. And aside from the interception by Billy Bowman Jr. in the end zone, they haven't been able to stop Highland Park at all today. Another touchdown here would continue to go ahead and let doubt creep into their mind as they head into the locker room.
Scots have been so efficient. They've already picked up 16 first downs. Denton Ryan only has 4. 3 receivers to the left of Morris. He wants to throw that way. There's Finn Corwin at the 30. Finn driving his feet all the way to the 20-yard line. Not the biggest, strongest guy on the field. There's some little extracurricular.
Oh, wow. Great
job here by our officials, I think, not throwing a flag. But Finn, look, only listed here on the roster, 5'10", 170.
Hey, good things come in small packages, my man. Finn Corwin, he can lace him up any day of the week for me, any day of the week. He is an absolute hoss out there at receiver.
Not the size of the dog in the fight, right?
No. He's got the fight, no doubt about it.
1st and 10. Scots have their 17th first down. Going to the end zone, and it's just too tall for Finn Corwin.
Oh, and Finn ran a good route there, just cheating inside, and Chandler Morris did notice, I believe, it wasn't T.J. Walker. There was a DB floating around the area there that came over just in time. Dixon, 15.
He's their rover.
Just a little high.
2nd and 10 now. A rare miss for Chandler in this one. He's now 13 out of 18. And they run the option. Pitching it here to Vinner Page. Got the corner. At the 15. Inside the 10, another Scott first down.
How about that offensive line getting moving? Tyler Kilgus, Ryan Butts down there. Look at this. Vinner Page gets the edge. There's his offensive line. They're all following him, leading ahead. Great movement in space. Getting able to pull outside. And right now, clock not an issue. All 3 timeouts in the back pocket for Highland Park. What a drive so far. And again, first down and goal.
They are inside the 10 once again. Finn Corwin in motion. He's open in the flat. Morris going to lob it back in the end zone. It's caught by Bennett Brown. His 2nd touchdown of the first half.
Bennett Brown, a player we circled, could have a big impact today. And a great job again. Chandler Morris stepping up. Looks like he's going to run. Pulls back last second. And that is so difficult to defend for a defense. You're just caught in no man's land. Do I come up? Do I try and stop Chandler Morris from running the football? The second I hesitate, I'm leaving a wide receiver open along the baseline of the end zone, and Chandler Morris will find him.
Pick your poison right now with the Scots offense. They haven't had many big plays in this one, Zach, but they have been so dominant, driving the length of the field.
No, but I think that's better.
Here's the 3 touchdown drives for Highland Park. 10 plays, 73 yards. 11 plays, 80 yards. And 10 plays, 75 yards.
I think that is exactly what you want for the Scotties. Heck, you'll take the score. If you want a one-play 75-yard bomb, you'll take it. But the methodical approach, the first down after first down, will continue to wear down this defense, and we've talked about it. The majority of these players are also coming out and starting on offense. There's no reprieve for them. There's no way they're able to go over to the bench, get some water, catch your breath, and regroup. The majority of these guys are coming right back out on the football field. You continue to leave them on the field, pin them back, and in the fourth quarter, they will wear down this Raider team and break their will. They've done it in the previous 2 meetings, and they look like they're well on their way to doing it here again.
That was Chandler Morris' 60th touchdown of the season. 60.
Special, man. And it's been an embarrassment of riches at the quarterback position here for Highland Park. You go from John Stephen Jones, who played the quarterback position about as well as any high school football player ever has, and now to Chandler Morris.
It's a short kick here by the Scots. It's fair caught at the 30. And they've been kicking it right to Martin Rodriguez in this game. Able to haul that one in. Well, to your point, the rest of the world doesn't live like that. I mean, not everybody else just replaces an all-state quarterback with another all-state quarterback. And he's only a junior.
Yeah, I know. And it's hard to believe. What start is this for Chandler?
This would be number 15.
15 starts, and he looks like a veteran. I mean, he looks like Wile E. Coyote back there, nothing's phasing. He threw that interception, comes right back the next drive like it never happened, clean slate, right down the field, boom, boom, boom. Well-oiled machine, man. He doesn't flinch.
It's 1st and 10 for Hennigan, lobbing it deep. And that's off the hands of Ryan Caton. Boy, he had a chance to intercept that ball. That was really a hope and a prayer from Seth Hennigan as he threw that up into the secondary.
Yeah, and this is not a situation where Seth Hennigan and this Ryan offense is super comfortable. 45 seconds left. You have to throw the football. That's not where they want to be. And I think early on, you saw in that first drive, the ability of Highland Park to come up and tackle in space. It completely has taken away Highland Park from that dink and dunk, quick out passing attack.
Seth Hennigan is just 3 for 7 passing for 21 yards. Here in the first half, they hand it off. Patrick Turner, the sophomore stud middle linebacker, comes in and blows up that play.
Boy, he looks like he's going to be a good one. And if I'm Denton Ryan, I might go ahead and let this clock just tick down and say, all right, I'm going to take my chances heading back into the dressing room.
And it looks like that's exactly what they want to do. There's only 15 seconds left here. Denton Ryan, Zach, they cannot be feeling too good right now about where they're at this ball game. And this is not a team that's built to play from behind.
No, not at all. This is not a good area for Denton Ryan.
And that will do it for the first half. A half dominated by Highland Park. And how about those Scott faithful on the far sideline?
Oh, yeah. They're giving their boys a standing ovation, and they absolutely should. That was a heck of a first half of football by the Scotties.
Dominating the stat sheet. 18 first downs to 4. Highland Park put up 275 yards of offense in the first half, 202 passing from Chandler Morris. He had 3 total touchdowns, now has 60 on the season. And that half, with the exception of the interception, went just about as well as Highland Park could have hoped.
It was a well-oiled machine, man. They got it done in the running game. Obviously, Chandler Morris is doing whatever he wants back there. He's got total composure, the poise, and his rushing. And I'll tell you, Benner Page, 10 carries, 48 yards, averaging roughly 5 yards a carry. But that offensive line, Miles, not only in pass protection, but they set the tone from the first snap and dominated that front seven of Denton Ryan.
Benner Page kept them on schedule, and then Chandler Morris pierced them with the arm and with the legs as the Scots lead 21-7 here at halftime. Now, Denton Ryan will get the football to start the third quarter. We're going to get out of the way, let you enjoy the Highland Park Band, the bells, the flag team out there as well. And then when Denton Ryan's band is on the field, we'll have a cavalcade of stars. We got Kyle Yeoman's in the house, we got Heckma Harrison, we got Guy Frazier. So I'll get out of the way, let you all take a brief break from my yapping and enjoy those fellas, the crew from Friday Night Stars. We'll get out of the way as you're watching Highland Park football presented by Game On Sports.
18, Highland Bells. Lieutenants from left to right are Callie Olson, Brooke Marble, Grace Duff, Kate Kilpatrick, and Riley Cheek. For your halftime entertainment, the Bells will perform a holiday jazz routine. Assistant Director is Mrs. Emily Sanchez.
The customer service is really unparalleled. I've never seen anything like it with any other company.
The emblem, it just says a lot. It means, hey, I bought from Sewell.
They listened to what I had to say and actually cared about my experience.
Every once in a while, you want to be spoiled, and Sewell does that.
It's not just a transaction. That's the thing about Sewell.
I will always drive a Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and certified pre-owned vehicles at Sewell Infinity.
Hi, I'm Al Bernay of Al Bernay's Restaurant Group. My experience of getting my car through Audi Dallas could not have been better. You know, we do so well here at Al Bernay's because we really do care about attention to details. I appreciate when people really know how to give you hospitality and make you feel important. In Audi Dallas, they have it down. You enjoy being there so much, it's like, I don't want to leave. It's unbelievable customer service. It was just perfect. Audi Dallas is really what a luxury dealership should be.
Mad for Plaid is the annual campaign benefiting every student, every teacher, and every school in Highland Park. Your donation to the Highland Park Education Foundation will support teachers' salaries at every HPISD school. To donate, visit www.hpef.org today. We need your support. Go Scots!
When I think Lexus, I automatically think Sewell.
When I look at a license plate that says just Lexus, I'm like, oh, that's good for you. When I see a Sewell on it, I'm like, you know what I know.
I show up and I have my crew with me. They acknowledge me and they acknowledge my children, maybe give them a high five.
You get more than you expect. You get the wow factor at Sewell.
Discover our wide variety of new and L-certified Lexus vehicles at Sewell Lexus.
Halfway through here in game 1 of 3 of the day from AT&T Stadium here in Arlington, Texas. Glad you're with us here for Game On Sports Productions edition of Highland Park football in the state semifinals as the Scotties lead it 21-7 over the Denton Ryan Raiders. Now we're here for halftime. You see the Denton Ryan Raider band playing on the field at the moment. Kyle Yeoman's joined up in the booth by one of my Friday Night Star co-hosts, Mr. Heckma Harrison, and then the state of Texas's biggest high school guru, Mr. Guy Frazier. Boys, a first half to remember for Highland Park. You're able to get up 14-0 early. Then you see Drew Sanders with a nice little drive in order to punch it into the end zone. Then on the other side, you've got Denton Ryan answering, or not answering, but Highland Park answering after the Denton Ryan score to be able to take a 21-7 lead into halftime. What's been the most impressive part about this first half for the Scotties?
No, I think Chandler Morris has had an answer for everything for Ryan's defense so far. And I mean, Ben Smith tonight has just been an animal over the middle for the Highland Park receiving corps, so he's stepped up big. But I don't know, I think the Scots have just had an answer for everything Ryan's thrown at them, and they dominated that first half.
I tell you what, I am done underestimating this team and what they do. I mean, I really thought that Denton Ryan's defense would make a difference in look, Chandler Morris and the balls that he's been placing to his wide receivers have been unbelievable. He's like a good pitcher, man. He has every throw in his repertoire. He fast, slow. I mean, that was a pass right there at the end of the second quarter where he just literally walked the ball to his receiver. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible to see the way that he was able to pick apart that Denton Ryan defense, a defense that we've looked at and seen as special all season long. Yeah. You look at the names on that defensive side, it doesn't matter whether it's Drew Sanders, whether it's Billy Bowman Jr., you can talk about the other Sanders, Jatavian Sanders. They were all over the place. They've got playmakers everywhere, and yet Highland Park put together not 3 but 4 really impressive drives. Of course, the interception in the end zone kind of stalled out one of the drives before it could really get any points on the board, but at the same time, it was really impressive to look at it, and the stat sheet definitely tells the story the way that I think you would expect it would after the first half that Highland Park had. Chandler Morris, 13 for 19, 197 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. Benner Page leads the Scotties in rushing as he ends up
with 10 attempts for 48 yards. The Chandler Morris rushing touchdown as well, so 3 total touchdowns for Chandler Morris as he's found the end zone. Overall, for both teams, you look at total yards. Oh my, 18 first downs, 274 first half yards for the Highland Park Scots. On the other side, only 4 first downs for the Ryan Raiders. I think all of those came on one drive, and then 102 total yards. It's been dominant on both sides.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, Kyle, that's so surprising about this is the way that they've dominated in the first half.
Yeah.
And even for Denton Ryan, when we were talking about this game last night on Friday Night Stars, we talked about all the stiff competition that they came up against in their division. I mean, Cade Rhodes is a team. Cade Rhodes from Grapevine was a quarterback that I kind of thought that played the same kind of ball as Highland Park, and they completely dominated them. And look, man, this first half, you can see it. The numbers dictate everything that you're talking about there. The complete overall domination. Look, Denton Ryan didn't have an answer for them, and I don't think anyone would have came into this game tonight talking about Highland Park's defense being the dominating force in this game.
Well, and just to talk on Chandler a little bit more, he's really picking up, right where he left off last week in that fourth quarter against John Tyler. He's been nails again today. And, I mean, tip of the cap to him, just been a baller.
Yeah, he's been incredible. And you look at the rushing game for Highland Park, 72 yards. It's not really where you want it to be if you're Coach Randy Allen and company, at least going into halftime. But you look on the other side, and you talked about it, Heckma. The defense for Highland Park's been overlooked, at least because of maybe how impressive the offense has been. But this defense needs a little bit of credit, holding Denton Ryan only 31 rushing yards in that first half.
I mean, that's phenomenal. And this is a team that has prided themselves on their running game, and they've been doing that, defense, running game, basically just beating teams in their district through the playoff run that they've had so far into oblivion. I mean, again, everyone that's here at this game is totally surprised at the Highland Park's defense domination over Denton Ryan. And in order to get back into this game, they have definitely got to make some adjustments. I'm saying in the second half, I was saying to you earlier, Guy, that, look, I would just go with Drew Sanders at quarterback and just let all the caution go to him to win today.
Well, I think they have to play bully ball here in the second half and just put him at quarterback and just say, go win us this football game. The only problem with that is he might get tired. He's playing both ways. So, that's not really fair to that kid. He's a great football player, but he's going to be dog tired by the end of this game if that's what they decide to do.
And another thing, Kyle, is actually the Highland Park quarterbacks missed some throws.
Yeah,
imagine that. So Chandler's been off on a few.
Yeah, you look at really the success that Drew Sanders had running the football. You expect maybe to see a little bit more of that in the second half. Maybe some more trick plays. I know we saw that one from the halfback pass earlier in the game from Denton Ryan. Maybe they start to show a little bit more of the trickier side of things. And then, of course, awaiting the winner of this one on the other side of it is going to be the winner of Shadow Creek and Wagner. And, Guy, I know you know a lot about both of those teams. Who do you expect to come out of that game kicking off at 6 o'clock tonight from NRG Stadium in Houston?
Well, I mean, Wagner, I think, has a lot of athletes for a team that runs the veer. So I think they're a little bit of a wrecking ball. Shadow Creek has a lot of athletes like that Alvin area usually does. So I don't really know who will win that game. I'm going to pick Wagner. They're my dark horse, so that's my pick. But I guess we'll see. That's why they play the game.
That's why they play the game, indeed. And then there are 2 more games being played here at AT&T Stadium following the final of Highland Park and Denton Ryan. The next game, I know, Heckma, you've kept an eye on all season long. Duncanville versus Allen. That game kicking off at 4 o'clock. What do you expect out of that monumental matchup?
Man, I am telling you, I woke up this morning thinking about this game. 2 days now, this is all I've been thinking about because it's, like you said, it's a monumental game. I think we'll all be asking ourselves where were we on this day when they took the field. I mean, this is number 1 offense, a number 1 team in the nation, and versus number 11. So I am really excited about this matchup.
It's going to be one of those games where you look back and you're like, oh, I remember where I was that day.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I remember exactly what happened on that game. Especially with the type of firepower on both of those squads. And then tonight, another big-time matchup, Longview taking the field against Amarillo-Tascosa. Guy, what do you expect out of that matchup?
Well, I like Longview. I'm a little bit of a Longview fan and fan of Haynes King. But, I think Tascosa is going to provide a little bit of a challenge for them, too, with the flexbone offense. I think King Doru, their running back going to Purdue, is a really good player. And then they got a speedster at receiver, too, that plays safety. I can't think of his name. He's going to Baylor. So, they're going to have some athletes, but I think Longview will end up winning with some ease tonight and, go to their first state final since 2009.
That'll be a fun one to watch as well. A great day of football as we get to see some of the first half highlights from Highland Park and Denton Ryan. Once again, the Scotties lead it 21-7 at the halftime break. Of course, Denton Ryan will get the ball to start the second half as they will look to try and answer and put some points up on the board to make this a one-possession game. That's going to do it, though, here for us at halftime. Miles Dunklin, Zach Wolchuk will join you back on the mic here in just a moment as myself and Paige Norbach will head back down to the sideline. We'll join you from there shortly. You're watching Highland Park football on Game On Sports, where the Scotties lead it 21-7 over Denton Ryan at the half. Welcome back to AT&T Stadium. I am Miles Dunklin, joined up here in the booth by Zach Wolchuk. Big thanks to the guys from Friday Night Stars. They're Kyle Yeomans, Heckma Harrison. Glad to get Heckma on the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
And Guy Frazier as well, of course, with a wealth of knowledge. The halftime score here from AT&T Stadium in this 5A Division I semifinal, 21-7. The Scots lead the Denton Ryan Raiders. And as you look at the first half stat sheet, Zach, total dominance by the Scots. They put together 18 first downs in the first half. That's a good number for a lot of teams for the entire game.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, the success that Highland Park's had against the defense that coming into it, Miles. I mean, we stressed they hadn't given up a single point in 10 quarters. They had pitched back-to-back shutouts. They've been on a statistical, historic run in 5A football, has this Ryan Raider D, and Highland Park, for the majority of that half, really made mincemeat of them. They did whatever they wanted, running the football with Benner Page, who had an outstanding half, Chandler Morris on the ground and through the air, but that Highland Park offensive line, I think, has told the story. Anytime your line comes out and dominates the way they did in that first half, everybody else around you benefits.
And the Scots did so many different things well in that first half, including stop the run. Just 31 rushing yards for Denton Ryan. And that's one of the things they needed to go their way. as the Scots kick it off here. Once again, it's fair caught by number 19, Martin Rodriguez, and they'll have it at their own 28-yard line. This is a critical drive for Denton Ryan to start the third quarter.
Well, great minds think alike, Miles, and I was about to say the exact same thing. If Ryan wants to keep pace and stay in this football game, they have to come out and get points on this drive. And quite frankly, a field goal's not going to cut it. They've got to find a way to get this ball into the end zone. And I'm interested to see it's Seth Hennigan trotting out there now, but as this game progresses, I'm telling you, it's going to have to be Drew Sanders with that Wildcat formation. That's the only thing that's really worked for Ryan.
They also threw a halfback pass that was successful. Now they tried the screen to Billy Bowman, and that's just one of the things that Hudson Clark really excels with is tackling in the running game.
And Highland Park has taken that away from the start. You saw it on the first play. What Ryan wants to do is get it out into the flat to Billy Bowman Jr., to Robertson, to Sanders, to all of their skill players. And Highland Park comes up, they tackle so well, they have gap integrity. Great play by Hud Clark right there.
I'll make it 2nd down and 10 to go for Denton Ryan. And they're going to try the same play over there to Bowman. And it's Ryan Caton this time making the stop. Billy Bowman is their leading receiver on the season, came into the game with 48 catches. He is a coach's son on this team. Played last year's significant role as a freshman, which you just do not see at this level, but had a big fumble in that Denton Ryan Highland Park game last year.
And he does have that big interception against Chandler Morris that's helped keep Ryan alive. And this is a critical 3rd down.
It's 3rd down and 4 for Seth Hennigan, the sophomore signal caller for the Raiders. With the H-back look, Hennigan wants to throw, and that's caught. 1st down yardage over there for Delshawn Neal.
That was probably the best throw we've seen Seth Hennigan make so far today. Again, he's looking at his first read the whole way. His eyes are looking at Neal, but Neal does a good job inside. He's a big body, uses his body to his advantage there to get in front of Hudson Clark, and a great throw in stride by Seth Hennigan.
Denton Ryan now 3 out of 6 on 3rd downs in the game. And another bubble screen here to Billy Bowman. Trying to hurdle him in, the ball came out! And Highland Park's going to fall on the ball. Colby Hopkins gets the fumble recovery, and there was the sophomore trying to do a little bit too much for Denton Ryan.
Well, you said the big fumble last year. There's another one. They set up the bubble screen on the outside, as you called, Miles, and for the first time, Billy Bowman had a little bit of room to work with, and he tries to go over the top. You've seen Ezekiel Elliott do it on this field. Well, it's not going to work against Highland Park. Helmet on the ball, pops right out, and Colby Hopkins, Johnny on the spot to get it back for the Scotties. Huge, huge turnover. And this drive right here for the Scotty offense, boy, oh boy, hey, we've seen some comebacks. You're never out of the fight till the fat lady sings, but this could go a long way in being a dagger punch right now.
The Scots get a huge turnover to start the 3rd quarter. And they go with the pop pass here. It's Finn Corwin still on his feet all the way to the 40-yard line. And this is a gear that Finn has found over the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's always been elusive, but now he's breaking tackles. He's a tough runner in the open field.
Yeah, he's doing an excellent job of getting low, and you see players come over, and they're just tackling high on him. High around the shoulder pads there for Neal, and Finn Corwin just shakes him right off, picks up a couple extra yards.
So it looked like it might be no gain or a loss. Turns into a 4-down pickup for the Scots. They go with the same action. They fake it this time. It's Morris keeping it himself, and Morris still on his feet there across the 40, and he'll be very close to a Scott 1st down at the 44-yard line. Make it 3rd down and inches.
And Jatavian Sanders hurt himself on that play. You see right here, extends that arm to try and rip Chandler Morris, and the outstanding sophomore defensive end, who's one of the best defensive players on the field, is now coming off for Denton Ryan.
Well, Dorian Anderson checks in. They have crazy depth on the defensive line. 8 sacks on the year for Anderson, number 30. The Scots want to throw it. And that ball was knocked down on 3rd down and 1. Denton Ryan able to turn away the Scots. That was just their 4th 3rd down attempt of the game. It's amazing, Zach. They were able to pick up 18 first-half 1st downs and only had to convert 2 3rd down attempts.
And you talked about the success they've had on 3rd and short, but really struggled 3rd and long. And right there, Finn Corwin was open, probably would have picked it up. Just a good job by Neal to get his hands up there and bat that ball down.
The Scots still have their offense on the field. Will they go for it here? They will. It's Chandler Morris up the gut. He's got a first down and more loose into the secondary. He's still on his feet. Chandler's off to the races. At the 20, finally dragged down to the 10. Chandler Morris goes 40 yards on 4th down, and Highland Park is back in business.
All you can really do is tip the cap. My, oh my, and a horse collar, it looked like, from the backside by Neal. Only way he was going to bring him down. Flags galore, laundry all over the field. And they're going to talk about it, but it'll be tacked on to the end of the run. But how about that? On 4th down, Morris just parting the sea.
Personal foul, horse collar, number 34, against the defense.
Denton
Half the
Ryan
distance to the goal. First down.
A solid start to this 3rd quarter, and it's gone the exact opposite of the way they hoped. You see a great block there by Benner Page, and then just good tough running there by Chandler Morris. And also, this guy's got legit 4.5 speed. Chandler Morris taking off into the end zone. Touchdown, Highland Park.
My goodness. Don't blink, Miles Dunklin, because you might miss something. All of a sudden, they get up to the line quick right after the call, and Chandler Morris, just a brisk walk in the park, into the end zone. Oh, man, they're having fun now. What a drive. What a momentum shift. You knew Denton Ryan had to have it on offense. You get the turnover. You have him 4th down and 1. Can you get a stop? You can't. And Chandler Morris, 2 big runs for Highland Park to put them up 3 scores.
And Morris now has 4 total touchdowns in the game, 2 rushing, 2 passing. It's a fire drill here for Finn Corwin. On the bad snap, Finn trying to make something happen. He's going to score! A 2-point conversion for Highland Park. Everything is coming up Scots here at AT&T Stadium.
Oh, man.
A little magic from Finn Corwin.
That was beautiful. Just the way Finn kind of kept that, waiting. Look, I'm going to throw. No, I'm not. And then he just slows down and walks in. Wow.
How demoralizing must this be for Denton Ryan?
But I'll tell you what, the better football team's just taking it to them. And I thought it coming in, and 2 years ago, maybe it wasn't the case. Maybe you looked at the roster and said, all right, Denton Ryan, they're a superior team on paper. But Highland Park just out-executed them. Not this year. This year, this Highland Park team, from top to bottom, when you look at their depth, when you look at their starters, I just thought it's crazy to me that Denton Ryan's favored by 3 coming into the game because Highland Park is the better football team.
And it's showing off right now as the Scots are just lining up and running it down the throats of the Ryan Raiders. For the first time here in the second half, let's head down to the sideline and our reporter Kyle Yeomans.
Yeah, thanks so much, Miles. I'm here on the Denton Ryan sideline right now. And last week, in describing John Tyler's sideline, I used the word stunned. That is surely the case as of the moment, but also 2 4-word phrases could also be used. Are you kidding me? And here we go again. I feel like I should be whispering on the sideline because it is deathly quiet. It has just been all Highland Park, at least in the 2nd and 3rd quarters of this football game, and Denton Ryan just needs an answer quickly.
Well, you said it, Kyle. They are in desperate need of an offensive drive here. And let's go back to the fact they only have 5 first downs in the game. I mean, they've had 1 big play on the halfback pass, 1 big play on the Drew Sanders rush. And other than that, they have not proven the ability to move the ball against this Highland Park defense.
Yeah, they've had a handful of plays, and the slant to Neal on the previous drive was 1, and it looked like they finally were able to set something up. But the Bowman fumble was just an absolute killer. And now you got Seth Hennigan coming out, and every time I'm just looking, where's 16?
But here's the problem with that, Zach. That's a good strategy. I'm talking about going to Drew Sanders at quarterback if you have a lead. This is a guy that does not want to throw the football. Drew Sanders has 9 passing attempts on the season. 9.
Yeah, and
He's
you know
not
what?
a quarterback.
Typically, I'd 100% agree with you if you had another quarterback that was really a good thrower. And Ryan just doesn't. Seth Hennigan right now is a young sophomore that is learning as he goes. He's very one-dimensional out there.
And he wants to throw it again. It's caught by Robertson, and then look at Hudson Clark. Hudson Clark is a dominant force on the football field. Pass coverage, tackling, whatever you want him to do.
And this is the problem that Denton Ryan's in, because you're essentially a very limited offense. you've got all these athletes, which is great, that are playing both ways, but all you can do really is get the ball into their hands in so many different forms. And their most effective way to do it, which is just a quick little bloop out into the flats, Highland Park has gobbled up all afternoon.
Scott's done a great job tackling as they go with the handoff here. Kiori Hicks is loose. Across midfield, Hicks has a first down for the Raiders. Move the chains.
And Ryan really does need to do a better job. And I don't know why they came out from the get-go and didn't try to get Hicks and Bailey a little bit more established, because those are two outstanding runners.
They only had 8 rushing attempts in the first half.
Still plenty of time. They don't have to go away from the run game.
And look, the Scots were down 21 last week. They know that people can come back. Hennigan throwing again. It's that bubble screen again. And it's Robertson. And once again, Chris Reed out there on the stop. The Scots are getting some great play from their outside linebackers. Chris Reed is finally healthy again and playing very well.
And Reed's doing a great job covering ground. That's the second play that he's made out there on those bubble screens in the flat. But a big pickup of 5 to just stay ahead of the down and distance for Ryan.
They want to pump and go deep. They've got him. That's Sanders loose. And the ball was well underthrown. That should have been a Denton Ryan touchdown. On the double move, the Scots bit on the fake. Sanders was behind the defense, but a bad throw keeps him out of the end zone.
Now Ryan will put their jumbo set out. A great pump fake, and absolutely was there all the way. And that's something that Seth Hennigan, that's how he won this starting job over his older brother Ian. He just threw the deep ball a little bit better. That one hung up in the air. Should have been a walk-in score for Ryan. Now you got to go earn it, and they're putting the big man back there in the Wildcat.
And here's Drew Sanders, the Oklahoma commit, in the Wildcat quarterback position. And he will rumble into the end zone for his second rushing touchdown.
And that is just so tough to defend. That is a big man coming downhill, well blocked off that right side. Very, very tough to slow him down.
The term that keeps coming to my mind when I look at Drew Sanders is blue chip. I mean, he's just a blue chip athlete. Just built different than the other guys out there. It's Court Gentry, the deep snapper. The holder is Ian Hennigan.
Might be offsides.
The kicker is Riley Nuzzo. Highland Park was offsides. That drive by Denton Ryan, they needed a fast scoring drive. They got it. 5 plays, 60 yards, just a little under 2 minutes.
Set up by that big pass by Hennigan. And it ends up working out. Set him up inside the 5, 1st and goal. They put the heavy set out there, and they give it to Drew Sanders for the Wildcat, but very, very needed right there for Denton Ryan. The question now is, can their defense get a stop? I mean, that's been so hard to come by right now. Highland Park is just playing so well on the offensive side.
Well, they've already got 333 yards of offense and 20 first downs.
Offsides defense. We have personal foul, leaping defense. The leaping penalty of 15 yards will be penalized on the kickoff.
So the Scots get tagged here for multiple infractions on the extra point. There you get a look at Drew Sanders. And look at how difficult this large man, they have him listed at 6'4", 220. Let's try more like 6'5", 230. I mean, that's a fully grown man, and he's only a junior.
Yeah, that kid's a special football player. I mean, we've talked about it. He's really, there's no position he can't play. If you want him to be your tight end, your receiver, your defensive end, your linebacker, heck, your quarterback, he'll find a way to come up and make a play for you when you need it. He is a special player, but now that vaunted Denton Ryan defense that came in, extremely high praise, Chandler Morris and this offensive line, led by Reagan Riddle, Ryan Butts, Tyler Kilgus, Jack Rourke, and Harrison Hall, have dominated this football game. Can Denton Ryan's D come up and make the play that they've really been making all year long?
Well, they're just not used to this. And they haven't really played a schedule that's all that difficult. And it's important to note that they come from Region 1. And it's a little bit unfortunate for them, their placement in that regard, Zach, just because Region 2 is more like the Dallas area. Region 3 and 4 are the Houston, Austin, San Antonio areas. Well, Region 1, although these guys are only 45 minutes north, they're stuck in there with the El Pasos, the Lubbocks, the northwest of the state, and it's just not the same brand of football that's played in Region 2, Region 3, and Region 4.
No, their toughest game probably came last week to a Birdville team that they'd already beaten in the regular season in district play. So you're 100% right, and their non-district schedule was nowhere as competitive as the one that Highland Park played. So in terms of who's the more battle-tested team, without a doubt, Highland Park has seen the better competition.
Look at what the Scots did in the non-district. Randy Allen never afraid to play good football teams.
That's the onside.
In that non-district, and there it was. And there's Brock Bakich, who has been playing so well for Highland Park, the junior, in there with some great hands. Brock is just a tremendous overall athlete. He has a brother that's on track to make the NHL. He also has a brother playing football at Army. And Brock is the next in line of some great athletes in that Bakich family. Good play there by Brock on the surprise onside.
And at this point, really field position for Denton Ryan, it doesn't matter. They haven't been able to stop Highland Park all game long. You might as well go and gamble and go for that onside in that situation.
They hand it off to Benner Page, and he's stuffed. Credit right there goes to number 8, Jaquez Flemings. 25 tackles for loss on the season for the big senior nose guard.
And Jaquez was really overshadowed by Anthony, his brother, who got up here as a sophomore, played defensive end, made a couple of big splash plays, but that's the best interior defensive line play made by Ryan all day.
Scots go with the 2x2 set. Morris protected well. Now he's stepping up, and he's going to go down on the sack. And Chandler a little bit dinged up after that one as well. There's actually multiple Scots down here.
That was a bit of a jailbreak.
Some friendly fire right there running into the back of Harrison Hall.
Yeah.
And there was a late hit right there by Ahmad Terry. Came in late with Morris already on the ground.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that Scotty sideline saw it. They noticed. And now a big 3rd down and 13.
And that was a dirty play. I mean, he was already on the ground.
No question, Miles.
5 wide receiver look for the Scots. Chandler Morris facing pressure. They throw it right side. There's Benner Page. Needs to make a man miss, and he will not. Good play out there in space by T.J. Walker, the man that had the interception earlier. And for the first time today, the Scots face a definitive punting situation.
Yeah, Benner Page just, you see him go forward, and he's done a great job of breaking tackles so far. T.J. Walker getting low and really just grabbing a hold of that leg for dear life. But a 3rd and long, and you talked about it, Miles, the difference for Highland Park in 3rd and short versus 3rd and long. The first punt that we've seen in quite some time, maybe all game, for Highland Park.
It is their first punt today. Kip Miller is the deep snapper. It's a good snap. Andrew Stanzel gets into this one. Good punt here for Stanzel. But it takes a good Ryan bounce. They want to pick it up. The ball is loose, and Highland Park has it. What a mental mistake by Trey Smith. The ball was loose on the ground on the Andrew Stanzel punt. For some reason, Trey Smith tried to pick it up, and Harris Pfefferman fell on the football.
My, oh my. What an error. What a miscue.
Let's look at it here on the replay. And there were Scots all around him.
There's no need to go anywhere near that football. What in the world are you doing? Trey Smith, the junior, just stay away. Do you know who you're playing?
You cannot make these kind of mistakes.
You cannot make those mistakes. You finally have a good defensive series. You get off the field, and now you turn the ball right over to Highland Park's red-hot offense.
The Scots have it. They want to get tricky now. Finn Corwin wants to throw it. Has an open receiver. It's caught by Avery Lewis inside the 5. Avery Lewis able to get behind the defense, and Finn Corwin is doing it all for the Scots.
Attaboy, Avery, and that's a well-timed play by this coaching staff and Randy Allen. You get the turnover. You're right around the plus side of the field where you dial something up like this. And a good job by Finn Corwin, shake off some pressure, give himself some room, and he makes an accurate ball.
The Scots come out with their H-back look. Henry Hagenbach is in the game. They have the tackle over. An extra offensive lineman. Morris has it, wants to keep it himself. Left side, into the end zone. Touchdown, Highland Park.
What a momentum shift. What a momentum shift right there. I mean, unreal. All of a sudden, it looks like maybe Denton Ryan has a little bit of life. They score a touchdown, 3 and out. They're getting the ball back. You have the miscue on the muff. And then 2 plays later, Chandler Morris is falling forward into the end zone doing his best Drew Sanders impression.
And it was a 2-play, 31-yard drive by Highland Park. It took just 13 seconds off the clock. And for Chandler Morris, that is his 20th rushing touchdown of the season. A dual threat in the truest sense of the word. And a red zone threat. Highland Park able to seize momentum off the big mental miscue by Trey Smith.
Wow.
And there you see Morris making it 35-14. It's now 36-14.
You just
Let's check in
cannot.
with Paige Schnorbach down on the field.
Thanks, Miles. We've talked before this season about the kind of expectations that Coach Melton has for his defense. Many would call him a perfectionist. The fact that they let Denton Ryan score the last possession infuriated him. He told his team, we can't let these things happen. Onside kick, we saw that Highland Park recovered that, so Coach Melton expects more out of his defense. They expect more out of themselves. In fact, when Chandler Morris got that late hit on him, the defense took that personally. They don't want to see their quarterback get treated dirty. Now they're ready to go out and do battle.
Thank you, Paige. And how about this one, Zach? Not only has Highland Park completely dominated the turnover category this year, they're +8 in the playoffs. They're now +29 on the season in the turnover margin. That is the 13th game this season where they forced multiple turnovers.
And that's the mark of a good team. I mean, one, they're not turning the football over, they're forcing turnovers, but then they score points off of those turnovers. And when you're playing against a Highland Park Scott team that isn't going to beat themselves, you can't afford to give them added possessions. Highland Park has done that twice now this half.
And here's Billy Bowman reversing his field. Had the fumble the last time he had it. Great coverage there by Highland Park. Some different guys out there. Number 33, a backup running back, Will Anderson, a junior, down there making a play.
Well, it's desperation time now for Denton Ryan. They've got a lot of ground to make up and not a ton of time to do it. They did score relatively quickly on their previous drive. And they're going to need another big play from the arm of Seth Hennigan to push this ball down the field. And I wonder if they've got another wrinkle. We might see another fake play, trick play before this is all said and done.
And in motion, it's Bowman. They hand it off here. This is Hicks. Hicks has a seam. And he's close to midfield with a big first down pickup for the Raiders.
Fiore Hicks has really earned himself more and more playing time as this season's gone on. You see both him and Amani Bailey. Bailey gets a block there. Pushes off Colby Hopkins. One of the best blocking jobs by that offensive line of Denton Ryan so far this afternoon.
Scott's run defense has been so good here in 2018. They want to go deep. Now it's a hitch, and it's dropped by Deshaun Neal. Now, I'll tell you this, Zach. The Scots were mad about what happened last week on defense against John Tyler. They had not allowed a team to go over 200 yards rushing all year. Well, JT went for 367, and those guys took it personally. They were really upset about that, and they've answered the bell today.
No doubt, you could tell. They came out on a mission to start this football game, and that defensive line has really dominated for the most part.
They bring some pressure here with Patrick Turner. They throw it right side on the bubble screen. That's Billy Bowman in space. Too many white jerseys as he's still reversing his field, going the wrong direction. Bowman still loose. And Bowman ran about 100 yards for a solid first down run. A couple big crackback blocks there.
Had great team defense just to flow all the way to that left side of the football field, but an individual play there by Billy Bowman, showing the athleticism and why he made the varsity team as a freshman. Now as a sophomore, just making people miss, and a play that looked like he was going to be stopped for negative yardage, he finds a way to gain a nice chunk and a first down.
Yeah, tip of the cap right there to Billy Bowman Jr., the sophomore. Took a lot of energy out. As now Seth Hennigan wants to go deep. And perfect coverage by Highland Park. Whit Winfield ran that route for him. And Whit Winfield has been so good. We've barely called his name, Zach, and that's a great sign if you're a cornerback.
Yeah, and Whit is not a guy who's going to get beat deep. He's a speedster there, and he showed it. Excellent coverage by Whit Winfield on that play. It was not there, and really a throw that Seth Hennigan probably shouldn't have made.
2nd and 10 for the Raiders, trailing by 22. Here late in the third, they hand it off. Left side, that's Hicks once again. Dragged down there by Grant Gallus. Scots have been able to tackle very well in this game, and that's been one of their hallmarks all season. Let me go ahead and reset the entire Scott defense. On the defensive line, it's the aforementioned Gallus, Prince Dorba, and Jack Jurgovan at the ends. Jeremy Haynes is the nose guard. The linebackers today are Chris Reed and Colby Hopkins, as well as Patrick Turner and John Beetrell. In the secondary, it's Hudson Clark, Ryan Caton, Brock Bakich, and Whit Winfield. They hand it off once again. Bailey trying to get to the outside. Great contain there by the Scots. Dorba is there. Gallus is there. As well as number 95 in there for Highland Park. And that's Braden DeFeo, who really has not been a part of the rotation for the Scots this season. But he's in there at nose guard. That leads me to believe there's been an injury.
It was really an excellent job by the entire Highland Park D. A little bit of misdirection. They faked the reverse on the backside to try and get the defense flowing the opposite edge, and nobody bought.
And this is a 4th down and 4 for the Raiders. They need it. It's a low snap for Hennigan. Throwing. And that's incomplete. The Scots are all over it. White jerseys all over the football. And it's a turnover on downs for the Denton Ryan Raiders.
Yeah, John Beetrell in the vicinity. And again, excellent coverage by Hudson Clark. And I'll tell you what, Hudson Clark, even if a pass has been made against him, he's been in position to go ahead and make the stop immediately.
And John Beetrell has been a revelation for Highland Park at that outside linebacker position. This is a young man that was playing cornerback on the JV 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, he had never played outside linebacker. He's now forced his way into the top 4, a starter for Highland Park. You just don't see that in this program. And the Scots now on the sprint draw. It's Hunter Heath. And he's swallowed up there by Ahmad Terry, who's got about 50 pounds on the junior.
Well, just to go back to Beetrell there, you know, we'll credit him for earning the playing time, but also the Highland Park coaching staff to find an area for him to go out there and succeed, and he's made the most of his opportunity.
A lot of credit goes to Chase Davis, the Scots outside linebacker coach in his first year in that role, as well as Bobby Leidner, Stephen Bird. And look, they only have so much time in practice. You can't just, tinker around with everybody.
Yep.
You only got so many periods during the week, so they felt like he had a chance to be a special player at that position, and he has been. It's Finn Corwin at the 35, spinning to about the 37-yard line, and that will bring up a manageable 3rd down attempt here for the Scott offense.
Yeah, big completion there for Morris. Rolling pocket as Denton Ryan starts to send some more pressure. They change his launch point, gets it out to Finn Corwin, and Finn just so tough to bring down. Smith just doing everything he can to hang on and avoid Finn Corwin breaking free.
Big 3rd down here for the Scots. They're 44% on the season, but they've been about 70% on 3rd down and medium and 3rd down and short. Morris has an open receiver, and it's caught by Drew Dodge.
What a route by Drew Dodge. Wow. What a route by number 5.
And Drew Dodge is a beast on the outside. I mean, you got to see him in the pregame. I'm not sure if he's been growing over the course of this season or what, but
big boy.
Drew is a big body on the perimeter.
And a great job by Chandler. He knew where he wanted to go, and he waited until Dodge flipped the hips, got those shoulders towards that left sideline, and he delivered a missile. Perfect accuracy and precision.
He throws another one right side. There's Finn Corwin trying to get to the outside. He does. Finn stopping, and he'll be tackled at the 30. And the Scots they just have you off balance right now. They're able to go outside, inside, multiple receivers catching the ball. It was Ben Smith in the first half, Finn Corwin coming on now, and Chandler Morris is in a rhythm.
Yeah, and an excellent job there by Bennett Brown to block on the outside as well to create some more room for Finn Corwin to pick up some yardage. And you're 100% right, Miles. Right now, everything's working for Highland Park. This offense is firing on all cylinders.
And there you see number 4 putting up 4 fingers. The fourth quarter is next as Highland Park leads it by 22. You're watching Scott Football presented by Game On Sports. We're back here at AT&T Stadium. Your score right now, Highland Park 36, Denton Ryan 14. And the Scots have the ball, a fresh set of downs as Finn Corwin just picked up a first down. And Highland Park, look, they still have work to do. Last week in the same spot, they were down 21 points at this point in the game. So they're well aware of the situation, time in the game and everything. But they are in a very good position to book their ticket right now to a third straight state final.
No doubt. And a touchdown to finish off what's already been a sensational drive would go a long way to that. But for Denton Ryan, you know they're doing everything that they can on their sideline, Kyle Yeomans, to try and come up with a big stop.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Zach. And one of the big things that gets kind of lost in the shuffle and the pageantry of a rivalry like this in high school football is that these are still 16, 17-year-old kids. And after that, or really that applies to Trey Smith, who was the one that muffed the punt on the Denton Ryan sideline. He went back out for defense immediately after and then came to the sideline in tears after Chandler Morris crossed the goal line. But I heard some of the coaching staff from Denton Ryan, and I really respect this. He said, hey, that's going to happen in life. Adversity is going to hit you in the face. And then after that, they repeatedly asked him, along with the rest of the sideline, said, how are you going to get back up? How are you going to get back up? Right now, that entire Denton Ryan sideline has a little bit more energy heading into this fourth quarter. They know exactly what HP did last week. They're going to try and do the same.
Hand it to Benner Page on first down. Another solid first down pickup for Benner to keep him on schedule. I want to give a really quick shout out to my friend Tommy Obenchain, who is watching from Tel Aviv, Israel right now. And he is a mentor to quite a few of these young HP Scots, including Hudson Clark. Shout out Tommy Obenchain, a big Scott fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for watching, Tommy, and keep holding it down out there in Tel Aviv.
Second down and 3 for Highland Park. They hand it to Benner Page again. That's a first down for the Scots.
Well, in the fourth quarter, this is where I thought that the double duty for most of these players on the Ryan defense would start to show up. Playing both ways, you get into the fourth quarter, especially Highland Park, who's had success running the football, would they start to wear down? And I think this is where you'll see Benner Page, Hunter Heath, Chandler Morris, who's ever toting the rock for the Scotties, really start grinding out some positive chunks.
And they're sticking with Sam Morse here with the H-back look. And it's Page hit initially. Should have been a loss. And then he squirts forward for an extra 3 or 4. And Benner is a huge part of what's making this team so good right now.
Yeah, and his stat line might not wow you, but it's the dirty yards that he's able to get and also to set you up in positive down and distance, which, as you've noted, Miles, is huge.
Important to stay on schedule, and Benner's keeping him right there in manageable second down, manageable third down plays. 370 yards in 4 playoff games for Benner. It's about 85 yards a game. Very solid. Morris going deep, right side. It's caught, and they say it's incomplete.
Oh, what a snag.
Bennett Brown was going for his 3rd touchdown.
What a snag by Bennett Brown there.
And look, Drew Scott is a great player at Highland Park, and they're going to miss him. But Bennett Brown stepping in, not missing a beat. 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
Almost was able to get that front foot in. It looked like the tiptoes might have been down, but the heel comes down out of bounds.
It's 3rd down and 7 for the Scots. Denton Ryan's offsides. They lob it up to Bennett Brown again. He holds it in for a Scott touchdown. Bennett Brown has 3 touchdowns in this game. Taking over on the outside. And it's now 42-14 Highland Park.
Well, how about that? Again, Chandler Morris knows I've got a free play. They're offsides. I'm taking my shot.
We have 2 fouls in play against the defense. Offsides defense, pass interference defense. That will be declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
Miles, we've seen Highland Park play some excellent football over the last few years. When you look at what this game is in order to punch your ticket to the state championship game and the competition and the team on the other sideline and Denton Ryan, this is some of the best football I've seen Highland Park play during this entire run.
Completely agree. Maybe in my time ever watching Highland Park football, this particular 48 minutes of football they're trying to put together here today, and right now they're through about 38 of those. And they haven't been perfect, Zach, but they've been darn close.
They've been darn close.
That was a 9-play, 68-yard drive. Took 3 minutes and 45 seconds. How about these touchdown drives for the Scots? You see Morris, perfect throw, right in the breadbasket there to Bennett Brown, his 3rd touchdown, the 6th touchdown of the game for Chandler Morris. He now has 43 passing touchdowns this season. But how about these drives? 10 plays, 73 yards. 11 plays, 80 yards. 10 plays, 75 yards. 9 plays, 68 yards. And they have shown the ability to consistently drive down the field. They're just a better football team right now than Denton Ryan.
Flat
That's
out.
all there is to it.
Flat out at every level. Their offensive line's been dominant. They've been running the football well. Chandler Morris at quarterback has been sensational. And I'm sure that sideline's feeling really good, Paige Norbach.
You know, the sideline is rocking over here right now. Highland Park is feeling it, but we know what kind of comebacks can happen in this crazy world of high school football. Coach Melton telling his defense, make them drive. They don't want to throw. Make them drive and make them make mistakes. Back to y'all.
Great job, Paige. And she's exactly right. They don't want to throw the football. They're not comfortable throwing the football. And I don't know how they could put together now down 4 scores in this one. And Highland Park's not done moving the ball yet either, Zach.
And the other thing is, Highland Park's done an excellent job of kicking the ball away from these returners, such as Billy Bowman Jr. Excellent job in coverage here. But that had been a big factor for Ryan. They've gotten multiple special team scores, and Highland Park, until that kickoff right there, had completely nullified any attempt at a deep kind of kick return.
Well, they just do all the little things well. And right now, they're doing some of the big picture stuff well. In addition, they're outgaining Denton Ryan by over 200 yards. They've almost doubled Denton Ryan's offensive production. They have 16 more first downs than Denton Ryan. I guess that shouldn't surprise you considering the score, but you know, some people had Denton Ryan winning this football game. They hand it off here. Amani Bailey, right side, staying balanced. Bailey carrying some defenders all the way to midfield. But Zach, real quick, back to your point about the kicking game. The Scots just do those little things right. They just don't mess up. They don't leave a big gap. And they don't give you opportunities to make big plays.
Yeah, and it's just areas that had been the difference all year for Denton Ryan. Highland Park just hasn't allowed them to have success.
Seth Hennigan wants to go deep, looking right side, looking for Drew Sanders, and Sanders didn't even find the football. That was a catchable ball. He's got about 6 inches there on Whit Winfield. Could have gone up and made a play, but couldn't find it.
Yeah, the size is there. It's just, and you can tell right now, Seth Hennigan can only do so many things. And the deep ball wasn't really even a poorly thrown ball, but Drew Sanders isn't going to outrun Whit Winfield in a foot race. That ball's got to be high where he can use his size to go up and make a play.
Seth Hennigan has just 104 passing yards in the game, 12 out of 19. Just don't have that dimension in the passing game. They hand it off on the stretch. That's Hicks trying to get outside, not going to get away from Hudson Clark. The first guy to really make that play for HP was Colby Hopkins. He takes a big lick right here, but able to string it out. Let his buddies help him out.
Yeah, really great play there by Colby Hopkins. Then Hudson Clark, the toughness to get him out of bounds. Priori Hicks, who's a back, tough to bring down. He's a load. And a lot of youngsters on this Ryan team, they'll use this as a learning experience. But a critical 3rd down and 11 now, and you got to think this is absolutely 4-down territory.
Seth Hennigan still in there at quarterback for Denton Ryan. Scotts brings some pressure, trying to get home. He throws it right side into traffic, and it's caught over there by Jamarian Robertson.
We haven't seen Hennigan work the middle of the field a ton. Robertson just sitting down, big body. Hennigan throws it in between 3 Scotties, really good coverage. Robertson just big and strong, able to come back and make the catch.
This will bring up 4th down and 1. Denton Ryan, I'll go ahead and put it out there. This is the ball game right now for Denton Ryan. They absolutely need this 1st down to stay alive. And they're in the I formation here. And that's Ian Hennigan, big brother, the senior, handing it off up the gut. That's a 1st down. Zach Wolchuk, Denton Ryan, in 2015, they were 14-0. Lost in the state semifinals to Allen. In 2016, they were 14-0. They lost to Highland Park. In 2017, they were 14-0. They lost to Highland Park. In 2018, they're 14-0. It looks like they're about to lose to Highland Park again. This is, look, I'm a Scott fan, but that is gut-wrenching for this Ryan program.
No doubt about it.
As Hennigan has nowhere to go. And there's Cal Hershey shot out of a cannon to bring him down.
How about Cal Hershey and the season that he has really had? Big play there. And again, Jack Jurgovan able to really get some pressure, push him to the outside. Hershey chasing down Hennigan. But you're 100% right, Miles. The problem for Denton Ryan, they've just run into a Goliath in the state semifinal, whether it's Allen. All those teams that they lost to went on to win the state championship.
That's right. That's Robertson on the bubble screen. And Whit Winfield making the play out in space. Those bubble screens are just not really threatening the Scotts right now. They've not been positive plays, and I'd venture to say that about 75% of Hennigan's completions in this game have been those extended handoffs.
Well, it's really 75% of their offense, truth be told. You know, that's what they want to do, and it works against the majority of teams, but it doesn't work against a unit as talented and as well coached as Highland Park because they tackle so well.
Gus Vincent has checked in at outside linebacker. In there for Beetrell. They hand it off to Hicks, and he's stuffed. Braden DeFeo, number 95, is in the lineup right now for Highland Park and making plays.
Made a couple.
At nose guard. Scots just keep finding dudes to plug in there.
You know what? Third, it doesn't matter. As soon as your name is called, your number's out there.
Braden DeFeo had 2 tackles on the season.
Making plays,
coming
man.
into today. 2. The whole year.
They're so prepared anytime their number's called to go out there. They understand the scheme. They understand exactly what their role is, and they do their job.
They're showing off some of that depth at linebacker right now. Hopkins back in there with Hershey, Turner, and Vincent. Hennigan throwing, and that's caught once again. But Zach, even when they complete a pass, it doesn't look easy. It's
everything's
not in
contested.
Rhythm.
Yep. Everything's contested, and the thing for Ryan is they're used to being able to complete these balls, even if it's a short 5 to 10 yard pass. They'll break a tackle and turn it into a big 40 to 60 yard play, if not a touchdown. And Highland Park has made them earn every inch of ground.
They're playing their brand of football right now, the Scotts are. Imposing their will on Denton Ryan. Under 6 minutes to play. Throwing left side.
Nice coverage by Hudson Clark there.
As Jatavian Sanders makes the reception. Paige Schnorbach, what are you seeing down there on the sideline?
You know, Miles, y'all are talking about Denton Ryan's passing, and what's super apparent down here from the field in this eye line is that Hennigan's and Chandler Morris's velocity of their throws are vastly different. And what's amazing about that is the fact that Hennigan is a senior while Chandler is only a junior. Chandler Morris's throws are much faster than Hennigan's, and that is part of the key to Highland Park's success, and everyone should be put on notice.
Chandler's got it all, and I thought Heckma made a great point at halftime that he's like a pitcher, right? He's got the changeup. He's got a major heat as well. You know, he can really do it all.
Well, Heckma Harrison has deemed himself the president of the Chandler Morris fan club. So he's fully aware of the talents that number 4 possesses.
Hennigan throwing into the end zone, and that is Drew Sanders for a Denton Ryan touchdown. And that's Sanders' 3rd touchdown in the game. Look, you got to tip your cap to number 16, but it takes the whole team.
No doubt, and Drew Sanders has done his job, especially on the offensive side of things, in the red zone. I mean, he's such a big physical body, whether it's him running the football from that Wildcat or going out there as a tight end, which is what he wants to be at Oklahoma, what they've recruited him to be. He's a load down there. The other thing is, just to go back to Paige's point, is really the throwing motion for Seth Hennigan. He's got a very long, wind-up throwing motion. It's just not where it needs to be, but I'm sure that he'll grow and get that ball out faster. Only a sophomore. Look, we've talked at length. This is a very young Denton Ryan program filled of sophomores and juniors. They're not going anywhere.
No, they certainly are not. But to your point, even on the long throws, it really looks like Seth Hennigan has to get his entire body into the ball to be able to deliver it deep. It's not, back to the pitcher analysis. It's not a guy with a loose arm that can casually go through his delivery and the ball explodes out of his hand. I mean, it's a maximum effort type thing for him to be able to get the ball down the field. And that drive for Denton Ryan, by the way, was a good drive. 15 plays, 78 yards, but it took them 5 minutes to get down the field. And to Paige's point earlier, and what Cale Melton was telling his team down there on the sideline is make them drive the length of the field. If they go down for a 5-minute drive and score, tip the cap, get the ball back, win the game. But you cannot let them have a quick score.
No doubt. And really, that might have been the most complete drive we've seen Ryan have the whole game in terms of being able to mix in the run with the pass and some of the throws that Seth Hennigan was able to make. It's just in this stage of the football game, when you're down multiple scores, it took too long. And now you're going to come out. I'm sure you'll see the onside kick. But the special teams unit of Highland Park, I mean, every single time they step on the field, they're a force to be reckoned with, man. Special teams is an area of the football game that often gets overlooked. It certainly doesn't by this Highland Park coaching staff.
Well, they're just so multiple. They just make you respect so many different facets of their kicking game. Now we're going to see what Denton Ryan has here by way of an onside kick. This is Riley Nuzzo, the kicker. And some of the Ryan guys now moving up a little bit. It's a pretty good kick. And it will be pushed out of bounds over there by Hudson Clark. Tell the Scots to practice that a time or two.
You think so?
Zach, no panic, right? And that's something I get to attend walkthrough every week. And they work on all those little things in special teams on Friday. And they were locked in yesterday. You get a great look at Hudson Clark right there. Big things are coming in that young man's future. He's been totally disrespected.
First down.
He's been totally disrespected by the rest of the state of Texas, Hudson Clark has. And I can say that with confidence. But he will force you to respect him when you play him in the game. Highland Park leading by 22. And handing it off here to Benner Page. Able to get to the outside and then get down. Just a smart play there by Benner. Just a good football player.
No doubt. And Benner Page, he's the total package. We've talked about it. He's a tough runner. Plays behind his pads. No fear.
Patient.
often brings the hit to the defenders. He welcomes contact, and right there knows the situation. I don't want to go out of bounds and stop the clock. It hurts my football team. Let me slide down. Let's keep this clock moving.
And the things that he does best don't even show up in the stat sheet, like blocking, not only in the run game, but also in the passing game. He does a tremendous job at taking care of the football. I'm pretty sure that Vinner Page doesn't have a single fumble on the season. There's a throw left side. There's Ben Smith, and I love his no-nonsense running style.
Yep. North and south. No wasted motion. Just get right up the field.
This Scott team is here to stay as well. Chandler Morris, a junior. There's Ben Smith, a junior.
Yeah, I mean, we might be same time next year, same place.
I'm planning on it.
Two same opponents, state semifinal, Ryan and Highland Park, round 4. It certainly isn't out of the realm of possibility.
I think you might be onto something there, Zach. I don't know who in Region 1 can threaten Denton Ryan. 3:26 left. The Scots get the play clock all the way down to 2 before they snap it. And there's Vinner Page taking it across midfield. And now Denton Ryan is going to need to take their timeouts. All right, Zach Wolchuk, Shadow Creek, and Wagner. All right, I'm relatively confident at this point, pivoting to what will be Highland Park's 4th or 3rd consecutive state championship appearance. Okay, your thoughts on Shadow Creek and Wagner?
Well, you know, and I got to give a lot of credit to our Guy Frazier, who is very familiar with these teams. And Shadow Creek, a first-year varsity program, what a run they've been on. And then Wagner, a team that comes in running that veer, another program that's had a lot of success. They're contending for state championships year in and year out. But in terms of kind of the opponent that Highland Park saw last year in the state championship, I don't think either of them are as talented when you look at the premier studs across the board, but it'll be an interesting matchup, especially if it is a team like a Wagner. You play someone that runs that veer that a lot of teams in the DFW area don't run, and they average over 430 rushing yards per game.
That's a stat for you.
Highland Park's going to have their work cut out for them in practice leading up to that one, if that's exactly who their opponent will be.
They still are deploying the H-back here in Sam Morse as they hand it to Vinner Page. Vinner stood up there at the 45. I opened this broadcast today talking about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. That phrase coined by Jim McKay of ABC Sports. And I think it's so fitting for this particular matchup here, because for Denton Ryan to be here for the 4th consecutive season and to come up short like they have, Zach, they haven't even been able to get to the state championship game. They've won, I'll say it one more time, they've won 56 of their last 59 games. Denton Ryan has. How about this? Since 2015, these two teams combined for a record of 1-10 and 8. And this is as good as high school football gets right here. But for Denton Ryan, the agony of defeat, the agony of this feeling again for Dave Hennigan, a former coach quarterbacks at Highland Park. You know, your heart goes out to those guys a little bit.
And Coach Hennigan's done an excellent job with this program. You know, he took over. Spencer Sanders is a freshman, starts, gets hurt. They go 5-5. They miss the playoffs.
Move the chains, by the way. First down, Scots. And that is a nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
There.
And a big run. It's fitting that it's Chandler Morris, right, that goes ahead and gets that first down.
Right past Dave Hennigan, there in the red.
But ever since then, they've been in the playoffs. They've had an undefeated regular season. They've won their districts, and they've just met an opponent, whether it was Allen in 2015 or Highland Park now the last 3 years, that are just more of a complete football team than Denton Ryan has been. And it's unfortunate. It's not a knock on them as a program, an outstanding program with outstanding players. They just haven't been able to get over that hurdle seeking that elusive state championship that they have not appeared in since 2002.
You see Chandler on the bad snap. What a football player. I mean, a lot of guys might either have that ball get past him or go into panic mode, able to keep the clock rolling.
No
and I'll
flinch.
tell you what, that frustrates defenders when you're able to slide like that all game, when they can't get a clean lick on you throughout the whole game. And that's why you saw that dirty hit by Ahmad Terry when he was on the ground. And the guys are ready to...
Yeah. They want their shots. You get a running quarterback as a defender. All right, that's cool. I get a free shot at you. Well, Chandler Morris is so good at protecting his body. Oftentimes, he does not take those extra contact hits.
And here's Benner Page into the open field. Benner, great balance all the way to the 15-yard line, staying in bounds. Benner Page taking his game to another level. And that's another first down for the Scots. This thing is getting close to over.
And
here at AT&T Stadium.
That Scotty sideline has to be feeling they can taste another berth to the state championship, Paige Schnorbach.
Absolutely they can. These boys are looking excited and relaxed. And for the correction earlier, I misspoke. More. And the fun thing about these deep playoff runs is that the old Scots start getting out of college and start coming back and seeing their football team. In fact, we have a Mateo Cordere sighting on the right now. He was one great player. Come to see go at another run at a state champion.
Good job, Paige. And boy, I mean, Paige and I are both big Mateo Cordere fans, just because he's just the sweetest, nicest guy there is. But they don't have that state championship without Mateo Cordere's onside kick. The perfect onside kick in the perfect moment. But it's the same thing, Paige, to your point, at practice during the week.
That's a frustrated football team.
Yep. Hey, look. This is the agony of defeat here.
It is.
This is not fun for Denton Ryan.
No. This is unfortunately the rough side of things. It's that ugly side of the coin for Denton Ryan. And it doesn't help that it's to the same opponent 3 years in a row.
Ugh.
But man, there comes with winning and losing and being humble and gracious about it. And that is one thing I think this Highland Park program has always been, under Randy Allen, one of, if not the best at. And lately, it's been all the positive side of things.
Some late pushing and shoving after the kneel down by Chandler Morris. The Scots are officially in the victory formation.
What a performance. I mean, really, from the first play on, Coleman doing a little bit of chirping. And how about Finn Corn and the leadership there with the C on his chest as a captain. Chandler Morris getting that sideline, and the fans are standing up now. They can feel it. They know.
Highland Park's dominated this game. 27 first downs, 456 total yards. They threw it better than Denton Ryan. They ran it better than Denton Ryan. They won the turnover battle. They were more disciplined. And Highland Park's quest for a three-peat will stay alive here at AT&T Stadium.
What a job by Highland Park. 2 years ago in this matchup, it was a touchdown. Last year it was 10 points. Very close games. This year, the Scotties left zero doubt.
No doubt at all about who's the better side today.
And it was a complete team win.
And the Scots will play for their third consecutive state championship.
How about that?
And there you see the legend, Randy Allen, one of the all-time greats in the history of coaching. And like you said, Zach, he's an all-timer in class. You know what? There's not an emotion down there. And I'd like to get Paige and Kyle's perspective on this. But that Scott sideline almost seems a little subdued right now. They know there's still work to be done.
Well, and that just comes with, having been there before. they know that they're not satisfied. They expected to be here. They know what's ahead. They know there's one more game. Even last year on the same field, even though it was a night game, it was the same thing. You saw all these players, one more. They know exactly what's left at stake, and they will not be satisfied until they've got a third straight state championship.
And look, this is satisfying, okay, because Denton Ryan does a lot of the trash talk. Okay, there's a little bit of contempt between the two sides, a little bit of animosity here. And Highland Park, I'll tell you what, that Whataburger is going to taste real good after the game.
Yes, it will.
But they are focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's the state championship.
Yeah, and they should be very satisfied with their performance here today, because they made what is a very good football team honestly look rather pedestrian. And some good sportsmanship there with Chandler Morris and some of these Ryan Raiders, and Chandler is all smiles. And, look, I don't think we can talk highly enough about the performance of number 4, not only last week, but today against that defense that came in as highly regarded, and what he was able to do was nothing but sensational.
Well, he might just be the best quarterback in the state of Texas.
Tell you what, man, I'm not going to argue that. Not at all.
Zach, let's run down some of the final stats here from Highland Park's win here in the 5A Division I semifinal.
Well, first of all, Highland Park dominating in first downs, 27 to just 13 for Denton Ryan. Long, methodical drives. Total yardage, 456 to just 308 for Ryan. Chad Morris, 297 yards through the air, 21 of 29 passes. And Bennett Brown, 3 touchdown receptions from Chandler Morris. And I think you look at the turnovers, the 2 turnovers for Denton Ryan, just that 1 interception thrown by Chandler, 19 of 27, 70% completion percentage, an unbelievable day. And then Finn Corwin as well getting into the act with that trick play right after the fumble. What a huge swing in momentum that was.
And rushing the football, Highland Park very good as well. Chandler Morris, 13 carries, 76 yards, 3 more scores for Chandler. He now has 20 rushing touchdowns on the season. Benner Page was outstanding. Really was the bell cow today. 17 carries for 72 yards. And then Finn Corwin, 1 carry receiving. Finn Corwin does it again. 6 catches for 96 yards. Ben Smith had a huge day in this one. 7 for 84. Bennett Brown receiving 3 touchdowns on 3 catches for 53 yards. And our Kyle Yeomans is standing by with Bennett right now.
Yeah, thanks very much, Miles. Bennett, 3 touchdowns, fittingly to help your squad get to a 3rd straight state championship final. What is it feeling like?
It's unreal, really, because this is what you grow up, this is what you want to do, and just to do it with my friends and my brothers like this, it's just unreal to me. It's very nice.
What did you feel like in the first half? What was the confidence level like on that sideline with the way that you guys were really able to take advantage of some of these offensive plays?
So going in the past, we started out very slow and very just anticlimactic, and we've had to come back a lot. So we knew that against this team, because they're a great team. No disrespect, they are a great team. They have a bunch of guys, just a great team overall. We knew we had to come out just humming on offense. Everyone's sideline jumping, and just be as confident as you possibly can on the field.
Looking forward to next week, Wagner and/or Shadow Creek. Have you had a chance to look at either one of those guys yet?
Yes, sir, I have.
There you go. What do you think about that matchup?
Very athletic, and I respect both those teams a lot.
Bennett Brown, congrats on the win.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, back up to you.
Great job, Kyle, as Bennett Brown answered the bell today, as Drew Scott, who's a true stud on the outside for Highland Park, out for the season now with a broken collarbone. And Bennett answered the bell with 3 catches for 53 yards and 3 touchdowns. Back to some of those stats. Avery Lewis in there with the big catch, 1 for 27. Drew Dodge, 1 for 17. Caden Davis caught just his 2nd ball of the season. Benner Page with 2 receptions. And they found 7 different receivers today. And that's just Chandler Morris's game.
Yep.
When I talked to him early in the season after the Rockwall game, where he went off for 396 yards, well, I asked him, what are you most proud of? Well, I found 7 different receivers, and I love getting everybody involved.
Yep, just spreading the wealth. And really, they were attacking Denton Ryan in the middle of the field. Both of the players in the slot, whether it was Ben Smith, Bennett Brown working on the outside. they started from the word go, and I love what Ben Smith was saying there about how he knew, hey, we had to come out humming against a team like this, and they absolutely did. I mean, you could tell they were firing on all cylinders. I think a lot of credit does need to fall back on that offensive line and how dominant they were really throughout the entire football game.
No doubt. When you're a dominant running and passing team, you got to point to the offensive line. When you can do both of those things so well. But Chandler Morris is just taking his game to another level here in the playoffs, completing about 70% of his passes. He's now up to 61 total touchdowns on the season. And I mentioned all the little things that he's done. He's not quite a master of the quarterback position yet here at the high school game, but he's getting really close on the little things, on carrying out fakes, on with the ball at the mesh point, on play action, on ball handling, leadership, all those different things. He's got them in spades.
Yeah, he does. And I don't think anybody ever doubted the talent was there, but you've still got to go out there. You've got to learn how to do it, especially at this level. And the shoes that he had to fill from a John Stephen Jones, a guy who's a Landry Award winner, won back-to-back state championships. I mean, you look at the team on the other sideline trying to do the same thing with a Spencer Sanders, who was an all-state caliber quarterback, and the drop-off there. Chandler Morris has done more than enough to fill those shoes, and the sky is the limit for that young man.
And they're down there right now taking a picture with the trophy. Boy, that's a great feeling for those guys as they are on to round 6, Zach Wolchuk. It's amazing to think that next week, as you see FinCorp with the trophy, will be these guys' 48th football game in the last 3 years.
That's crazy. That is unbelievable. What a run.
And that's 30 consecutive wins for the Scots. So Paige Schnorbach has the victorious head coach, Randy Allen, headed to his 3rd straight state championship game.
The face kind of just that way so our camera can get. All right, y'all ready?
Yep.
Where's everybody else? Okay, they come in.
Paige is down there with Randy right now.
You're not going to get it.
All right, Coach Allen, this is the 3rd year in a row you faced Denton Ryan in the playoffs. What was the key to your success this year against them?
Well, it was a team effort, but it was a balance on offense between the run and the pass. And, we scored the first 21 points in the first half, and they came out with 14, I think. Isn't that right? I can't even remember. And then we scored the first possession that we had the ball in the second half. And seemed to take some control of the game and wear them out. They had a lot of two-way starters, and so we were trying to keep the ball on offense so that we could maintain possession of the football.
How important was that muff punt in terms of trying to, you guys had a 3-and-out that they forced after had pulled it within 1. You guys were able to recover that punt, and it really felt like it changed the momentum and kept you guys in the drive.
Well, big in any football game, but especially this game, there were two big takeaways that we got that were huge. One fumble recovery over here near the sideline, and then one on the muff punt were big. I think we scored after each one of those.
That's one of the reasons why you decided to come back to the sidelines to get back to this place.
Well, it's a dream come true, really. You come back and you want to have a good football team. You love these kids. You want to help them reach their goals. But to be back here is almost surreal.
Coach, it looked like Chandler was making some really good decisions out there tonight.
He was. He's getting better each game. He got a lot of confidence coming out of the John Tyler game, and it just carried over to this game.
How about Bennett Brown being able to step in for Drew? He had 3 touchdowns tonight. It was really his, Chandler's go-to receiver today.
Yeah, we've got depth at receiver. Bennett Brown did a great job, and so did Caden Davis behind him. And it's a good thing because, we lost some good players.
We saw you moving the slots around a little bit, both on alignment and pre-snap motion. Tell us what you were able to force the Denton Ryan defense into by doing that.
Move Finn out of that outside receiver where they'd have to change coverages, and we got a couple of plays off of it. Still got a couple of things we hadn't done out of it, but we got 2 big first downs out of it.
Coach, next week it could be 3 years in a row. How do you keep your boys from being too overwhelmed by that kind of pressure?
They want to accomplish. Great. Team,
All right, so we're we're struggling with our audio down there right now with Randy Allen. So big thanks to Randy Allen, who obviously, Zach Wolchuk, came out of retirement for moments like this.
Yeah, and you know what? It's got to be extremely gratifying. I mean, you hear him talk there about it's a little surreal. You come back, you hope you're going to have a good football team. Obviously, these coaches love these kids, and they want them to go ahead and reach their ultimate goals. Well, certainly there's nobody better than Coach Randy Allen to go ahead and do that and help these kids go ahead and reach that ultimate goal of winning and competing for a state championship. And they got one more game to go ahead and make that three-peat become reality.
Well, Zach, this is a special time right now in Highland Park history. This is the most successful program in the history of Texas high school football. By whatever moniker, by whatever stat you want to go by, most wins, playoff appearances, winning percentage, 10-win seasons, district championships, they have all those records, right? But this is now the most successful era in the most successful program in Texas high school football history.
That's wild.
This is a special thing to be a part of.
Yeah, it's honestly incredible when you think about it, and the history that Highland Park has. When you talk about that 2005 team, obviously led by Matthew Stafford, Randy Allen, who's got the most wins of any head coach in high school football history, that these last 3 years, it's really the golden era of what's been a golden program in Texas high school football history. It's sensational, and this Highland Park squad, I mean, you look at all three, each one had something that stuck out, but this one could be the most complete.
Well, this was certainly the most complete game that they played on this field here in this historic run. A totally dominant performance today over Denton Ryan. We have so many people to thank for making this broadcast possible. Start with our cameraman, Silviano Moncada, on audio, Cookie Hawkins, our director and producer, Troy Gooder, our production assistant, my dad, Brian Dunklin. Thanks again, Dad, for everything that you do for our broadcast as well. Of course, Paige Schnorbach and Kyle Yeomans down there on the sideline, as well as Fred Garner, our executive producer, the man that makes all this happen. Zach, any final thoughts on this one here from AT&T?
No, just a very impressive win for the Highland Park Scots, and they got one more to go before the three-peat is complete. What a great day for Scotty football.
The Scots' chance at a three-peat stays alive today here at AT&T Stadium. For Zach Wolchuk, I'm Miles Dunklin. Let's do it again next week.
Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come.
He's still on his feet.
Here we come. Here we come. I used to think that people die because they wicked. Nowadays, people want to see you dead because you gifted. Been ready for my tomb since I came up out the womb. So no matter what, here we come.
Touchdown,